Fridays from 11 to 1. It's time for Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stat Scoresworthy and Brian Davis.
Sports Time on a Fight Song Friday. Brett and Bryant with you. Connor producing us. We're Sports Time. We're with you for the next 3 hours. And what better way to start a Friday show than with the fight song of one of the teams in the biggest game of the weekend, Alabama and Georgia. We'll talk a lot about that game today. We got to talk about the Tigers and their game against Mississippi State. The rest of the SEC, the Razorbacks. We'll get to all of it over these next 3 hours. But, Brett, how are you this afternoon?
I'm doing great, Bryant. Another one of those biggest games of all time
right.
at Tuscaloosa, and Kalen DeBoer in the center of the arena this time. Even the bands, the $1 Million Band and the Marching Redcoats, it's a classic matchup. Now, one thing that is just of an emergency situation is people trying to get about in the Southeast today. It is perilous out there. Those pictures from Asheville, North Carolina, even from in downtown Atlanta, it's just incredible. It looks like a sci-fi movie, and it's very real, and it's causing a lot of travel issues for everybody, officials, announce teams, everybody trying to get somewhere. Our friend Richard Cross was set to do the East Carolina game in Greenville, North Carolina, and it's hard to get there on a 70-degree and sunny day.
Yeah.
And I think at about the sixth time it was canceled.
Oh, geez.
I think they decided for a plan B. I don't know if he's going to be able to get there. But a lot more important things, of course, than college football this weekend. We're very cognizant of that. But we're going to talk a lot of football and try to cut up and have fun while we're very mindful of the loss of property and lives from the hurricane.
Yeah, no, I mean it's been hard to kind of watch all the news and the weather and everything that's kind of been going on over these last couple of days down in Florida, and now making its way up the East Coast through Atlanta, and now I saw some pictures of over in East Tennessee and in North Carolina, and now we're obviously getting a lot of rainfall here, but nothing near what they're getting over there more east. So yeah, and it's going to be an issue. I already saw Appalachian State and Liberty have canceled their game for tomorrow, and they don't have plans to reschedule that game. I think I think both teams said that they're going to try to reschedule on their open dates if they can find an opponent, but it's going to be an issue, and it's something that a lot of teams are going to deal with. And so we'll see how everyone gets through it and deals with it over the weekend.
Yeah, and just charter services everywhere interrupted. It has been something. It came in over that Big Bend area of Florida with some kind of ferocity, and the rain. We haven't gotten that much by kick tomorrow morning here in Oxford. I think it's going to be very, very nice. It looks like some remnant bands by Tiger kickoff time, though. Still could be 40 to 50% chance. Just everybody be mindful of it and be really safe.
Definitely. And so, we'll definitely keep an eye on the weather. And, right now, at least, here, it's been a lot of rain. It has not been, any lightning or anything like that, just kind of a steady downfall all day. And we'll see, how that changes through the night and tomorrow. But, you look at the schedule, try to put weather aside, it's going to be a really good day of college football tomorrow.
It will be. The not-so-famed last Saturday in September.
That's right, yes, the old last Saturday in September.
You got a coffee table book reference?
Not yet. But they, I'm sure it's coming at some point. But no, I mean, it's some good matchups. Obviously we came in with Alabama and Georgia. That's certainly the biggest game of the weekend. But you got Arkansas and Texas A&M. You've got a really big game between Oklahoma and Auburn in terms
Fork
of
in the road
what
Saturday.
happens for those two teams. So I think a really a good day of football, especially in the SEC tomorrow.
We need the Memphis Tigers to get well tomorrow.
Definitely, and that's what you got to be hoping for after what happened last week. And we've talked plenty about that loss against Navy and kind of what happened there. And I've been talking about it. We mentioned it earlier this week, and I was talking about it with Dave earlier today. I'm really interested. I think this is going to be an easy game for the Tigers based on what I've seen from Middle all year. It feels like this is going to be an easy game, but I'm more interested to see how do the Tigers start this game. Do they come out and kind of loaf around and it feels like you're watching a team that just lost a game they didn't expect to lose, or do they come out with a lot of energy and motivation to go out there and get a win? And I expect to see the latter, but only time will tell. And I think if they do come out with that fire in them after that loss, I think we're talking about a really easy win for the Tigers. And then you get a win tomorrow, and then you've got the off week before you really get into your conference portion of the schedule, and we'll see how they fare in that.
Yeah, confidence is so key. It can be fragile, and it can be sometimes the overconfidence can really be unrealistic. And in the Ole Miss case, tomorrow the first true test of really any kind. These first four wins, Ole Miss has looked good, but it's been against just not much.
Sure, and so now you get your first test against a weird Kentucky team. What kind of team is Kentucky? You see them go out there and really struggle against South Carolina, but then you see them go out there and make it a unbelievable game that who knew who was going to win late in that one against Georgia. So what kind of team do you get for Kentucky, and how does Ole Miss look? I mean, you mentioned it. They've made it look so easy against those opponents, and so are they able to come out and really put it on Kentucky, or is it kind of that, oh wait, now we're actually playing an SEC opponent? This is a little different from playing the teams we played the last couple of weeks.
Brian, I like the two games tonight. One on Fox, one on ESPN. Fox National carrying a Friday night college football game. Washington 3-1. Not a lot of offense. That's Will Rogers.
Yeah.
That was at Mississippi State quarterbacking the Husky Dogs against Rutgers. And then on ESPN, I'm looking forward to watching as a college football fan, but I'm going to have my legal pad by me making some notes on Channing Ward as a Heisman voter, because wasn't he the leader earlier this week?
He was.
At one of the best betting sites?
Yeah, it was Cam Ward number one, and then Jackson Dart right behind him, and then I think 5 or 6 quarterbacks behind them. But Ward's played well to start the season. So that entire Miami team has looked good, and so now on a Friday night game for them, and I know big favorites tonight against Virginia Tech. That'll be interesting. Then you mentioned that other game on Fox. We'll see as
that's Timmy B.
That's
right.
Tim Brando. And Washington has to cross country to their game against Rutgers, and we'll see what those two teams look like. But I think like you said, 2 really good games tonight.
I won't be able to listen and watch it tomorrow, but I will at some point Sunday into Monday. Sean McDonough's on the ABC crew with Greg McElroy.
Yeah.
And I don't know Sean McDonough at all, but I know Greg and really like Greg a lot. I think Sean McDonough is one of the all-time great college football announcers.
Yeah, he's really good.
I'm looking forward to watching him and listening to the replay when I get a chance to watch it. But people will be watching that live tomorrow morning.
For sure.
And we'll have all the action as well, including Alumni Association Hall of Famer David Kellum, who was honored last night by the Alumni Association, and he'll have all the play-by-play action right here for us tomorrow.
Yeah, I heard that on Reb Talk last night. He wasn't there because he was being honored, so definitely cool
in a
for
tuxedo
him.
And everything.
Wow, how about that? Wow, do we get him in a tuxedo tomorrow? How about
no.
No chance. But no, that is definitely cool. But like you said, we'll have all of that action right here on Sports 56. Coverage beginning at 9 a.m. with pregame for that 11 a.m. kick. We'll also have NFL all weekend. Sunday, Jaguars at Texans at noon, Chiefs at Chargers at 3 p.m., then Bills at Ravens at 7 p.m., and then Monday night we'll have the Monday Night Football game, Seahawks at Lions. Brett, speaking of the NFL, we had Thursday Night Football last night between
where's our Micah
Dallas
jersey
Cowboys.
today?
Well, I wore it yesterday. I didn't want to wear it 2 days in a row.
Sweated it up last night at CBHS game.
That's right. So, I didn't want to wear it again today. But our Cowboys, Brett, get a 20-15 win over the G-Men.
Well, your Cowboys.
Huh.
The Cowboys just won last night, didn't they?
No, they absolutely did.
But can't you make a case Thursday night how goofy that gets?
Sure.
Play bad, two dogs barking at each other, a division game, you win. Should you have to apologize for that?
No, I don't think so, and especially with the way the Cowboys looked the 2 weeks prior. A win's a win. You take it any way you get it, whether it's by 30 points or if it's by 1 point or if it's by 5 points, which is what the Cowboys won by last night. You just got to get a win, and they were able to get that on the road last night.
5 points was big.
5 points was really big, and Al Michaels, I did not have anything.
I think
in
Al
that
Michaels
game.
had some big cash on it.
He did make a comment when they were lining up for the field goal.
He always does.
This is
I think Al through the years had a lot of action.
Oh, for sure. He goes, this is a big field goal for some people, and sure enough,
he's always known. He used to do it when it was verboten. He would drop a reference on Monday Night Football.
Great.
And he always, I don't know if it was his spotter or who it was, but when they would be rolling the credits, he would talk about Malibu, Kelly Hayes. And I think Al Michaels and Kelly Hayes through the years had good times making their way around the. Heck, you should.
Yeah.
And Brett Musburger did.
I think, for sure. But yes, I think he probably had something on it, and then Aubrey, missed it, and very rare for him to miss a field goal, but he missed that one. I saw somewhere on Twitter later in the night that missed field goal was really, really kind to Vegas. A lot of people betting on the Cowboys last night at that.
Vegas,
a lot of people
they need somebody to be
for
kind
sure.
to.
They definitely need somebody.
Poor
But
Vegas.
that game was filled with injuries. A lot of guys going down. Malik Neighbors gets a concussion. Micah Parsons had to be. They took him out on the cart with a foot injury. He's getting an MRI today on that. So
I just can't take the NFL seriously when they talk about injury concerns when we turn around and play Sunday to Thursday.
That's
I know
right,
they're going to have a long time off, and we're getting ready to add a game. Here's the one foolproof way we know to reduce injuries with football, and it's less football.
Sure, but the NFL is wanting to do more football, and
they're wanting to do more, and now we're doing so much more in college, and that I can't take the. I know they're serious about avoiding the big class action lawsuit. I know they're very serious about that on safety, and I think they're sincerely concerned about safety as well. But if they were really, really serious about it, instead of adding an 18th game, we would go back to 16 or 15, and that's as far-fetched as a manned mission to Saturn.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right about that. And so, you're not going to get any less football, but you're definitely seeing the injuries. And for, both those teams, that could be big injuries. Obviously, with Malik Neighbors, I just saw on NFL Live on ESPN, they threw up a tweet where they said Malik Neighbors was at the facility today. He's in good spirits, and that Brian Daboll, kind of talked about how, because they played on a Thursday night, he's got a couple extra days now to try to, get back
and that
right
injury could have happened.
Exactly.
In any time of football.
Exactly. But he has been fantastic for the Giants. Week one, struggled a little bit, but, these last couple of weeks has been massive for that offense and has kind of turned into that wide receiver number one immediately.
Right. One of these days, after I'm long gone, if they ever impose the rule, I want you to say, boy, I knew somebody that called for it.
Okay.
I will take football seriously about head stuff.
Yeah.
The day they outlaw celebratory headbutting and slapping people in the head.
Well, yes, that is, always.
Stop that. Quit doing anything to somebody else's dome.
Sure. Let's just, leave that alone. And then, if something does happen where you take a fall, sure, that's unavoidable. But, I think we could probably get there at some point.
I think anything done in celebration that would be a penalty during the course
Sure.
of play, you don't need to be doing.
Probably not. Yes, I'm definitely.
That'd be the Brett rule someday.
The Brett rule. I will remember that, and I
Shake
will
their hand, pat them on the
always
back.
call
You don't have
it
to slap them
Brett
on the
rule.
head.
That's right. No, I will. I'm gonna keep that locked back here in the old head and the old noggin, and whenever it happens,
You and Connor can headbutt.
yes,
when
we'll
I'm
headbutt
right.
in favor of the Brett rule whenever that happens. But we got a busy show today, so let me set it up before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30, Alan Bell from the AB3 and Driving the Line. He'll join us to talk some wagering. We'll talk a lot of NFL games with Alan. We'll get to a few college with him, but definitely going to get to a lot of the action on Sunday. Alan was great. I don't have the exact record for Alan from last Sunday, but I know I trailed a lot of the noon bets before I got busy in the afternoon and couldn't really bet. And I was undefeated for the day. And pretty much all of them were bets from Alan Bell. So he was really, really good last weekend in the NFL. So you definitely want to make sure.
4-2 last week
Wow.
in the NFL,
Really
3-1 in college football.
Really good. Wow. So, yeah, so you definitely want to make sure you're listening in our
We
next
keep up
segment
with
to
this,
Alan
don't we?
Bell. We absolutely do. 3:45, we'll talk more about Memphis and their game tomorrow against Middle Tennessee, a 6:30 kickoff. And we're going to have some tickets to give away for that one, thanks to Sissy's Log Cabin. I believe we have 2 pairs of tickets we'll give away, probably one in that segment and then one maybe a little bit later in the show. But definitely make sure to keep listening so that you can have a chance to win those tickets later in the program. 4 o'clock, Bruce Marshall from Vegas Insider, CBS Sports, and BAMSports.net. He'll join us, and Bruce has also been fantastic to start this season. So both our guys, you want to make sure you're listening to what they have to say. We'll do a lot of college football with Bruce. Towards the end, we'll get to a couple of NFL games with him as well. 4:30, we'll talk about the SEC slate this weekend. 4:45, we'll get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Trey Schapp from 103.7 The Buzz in Little Rock. He'll join us to talk the Razorbacks as they've got a big game tomorrow against Texas A&M. We'll get his thoughts on the season, get his thoughts on tomorrow's game against A&M. 5:30, we'll get to our First National Bank and Trust Friday football forecast. And at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. The world's biggest spa sale, it's going on right now at Family Leisure, and you can save thousands on in-stock hot tubs ready for delivery. Spa starting at $28.99. Cold plunges starting at $39.99. Swim spas at $17,499. Special financing is available, and don't forget about the huge discounts on all in-stock above-ground pools too, and all patio furniture. It's priced to move. So head out to Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40.
He's Bryant. I'm Brett. We're Sports Time, produced by Connor Dacus today for this Friday afternoon, September 27th. And as always, you can text or call us at 901-360-8255. That's Sissy's Log Cabin talk and text line. All our guests will appear on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line at 901-360-8255. Wherever we are, we're always in our Family Leisure Studios, and wherever we are this first hour is always brought to you by our friends at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Great offers on all 2024 models and the 2025s rolling in. Always special leasing options at Lexus of Memphis. Driving luxury and confidence, knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Call them at 901-334-9673, but stop by the one and only Lexus dealership in town at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 24-25 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
top story of the day.
Well, Brett, my top story of the day is the games we'll see tomorrow for the teams in this area. We'll start with the Tigers, kind of a get-back game for them against Middle Tennessee tomorrow after the loss they suffered last week against Navy. We'll see how they come out. Do they come out motivated with a lot of energy? If they do that, I think they should cover this spread easily and not have any trouble with Middle Tennessee. But I do think there could be a real chance they come out a little slow and struggle a little bit. But I definitely hope not. We'll see what this offense looks like. More importantly, we'll see what the defense looks like after giving up so many yards, so many points last week to that Navy offense. And you go down to Ole Miss, their first game in the SEC, as they've really handled the non-conference slate. But what does the conference slate look like? You get to start off with a weird Kentucky team that really played Georgia really well and really close. It was an ugly game, but they kept that score really close. What can they do tomorrow against Ole Miss? Arkansas, a big game for them down in Dallas. I guess technically Arlington if you want to be super specific, but at AT&T Stadium they'll take on Texas A&M, and I'm really curious to see what this Arkansas offense looks like against A&M. This is a fun offense, I think, but at times through the first four games it's come and gone. Last week against Auburn, really slow start for the offense, but they were able to pick it up late in this game. Can they get out to a fast start against Texas A&M? We'll see, but definitely for these teams in this area that are playing this weekend, I think some really interesting games.
My top story and another biggest game of all time in Tuscaloosa. There's been a lot of those. Bama hosting Georgia. Number 2 versus number 4, Glamour quarterbacks. Former president will be there. Tickets and hotels at exorbitant rates. But it's the first game of all time, or the biggest game of all time, for Kalen DeBoer at Alabama. He played in a really big one last year, playing in the College Football National Championship. So he's been in big games. But this is the first of how many for him in these biggest games of all time? Kirby on the other side's already been in a bunch of them. He's been in a ton of these already. How many more times will these two meet each other in the biggest game of all time?
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day, I'll get to that in one second. But how about this, Brett? I'm just seeing this from Brett McMurphy that because of air travel impacted by Hurricane Helene, Louisville is busing to South Bend for Saturday's game at Notre Dame. Cardinals left earlier today on the 4.5-hour road trip. So we're going to see a lot of that.
It's how we used to exist.
Yeah, you're exactly right. But now a little different than what a lot of people are used to. But my not top story of the day, it's got to be this weekend in the NFL. Already one game down with the Cowboys getting the win over the Giants. It was an ugly game. There were a lot of penalties, but ultimately the Cowboys get the win. But what does the rest of the weekend look like? I think a lot of intriguing games on Sunday. I think the first one that jumps out to me is this Saints-Falcons game at noon. The Saints have looked good. They lost narrowly their first loss of the season last week against the Eagles, going up against a Falcons team that were in shooting distance last week against the Chiefs. They've certainly looked better than they have the last couple of years. That should be a fun game. You look a little bit later into that afternoon slate, you got Chiefs-Chargers, which should be a good game. The Chiefs, they're 3-0, but I think all three games have been pretty close in terms of margin, and Chargers have looked pretty good to start the season. And then Sunday Night Football, I am really excited for this one. Bills at Ravens. Bills come in 3-0, and Josh Allen, a lot of people saying should be the MVP if it was all said and done right now, going up against a Ravens team that might be 1-2, but when you saw what they were able to do last week against the Cowboys, I do think this is a team that can certainly turn that around after the 2 losses to start the season. So I think that's certainly the biggest game of the weekend, but I think a really good slate for Sunday afternoon.
Josh Allen may very well be the MVP at the end of this year. We know who was the MVP at the end of last year.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll be going
right.
against each other. My not top story, it was a bad late September Thursday night ugly game, but it was a Dallas win, and it averted, for now, some tough decisions, some tough questions around the Cowboys. This weekend for the Dallas Cowboys, they are off. If they were going to fire Mike McCarthy for a loss, why wouldn't you just do it now? Because they didn't look that good.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
true.
all they did was not lose. They
right.
won. They didn't lose. And it scares me. I know he's injured. That scares me too. But it scares me the body language and even the language from Micah Parsons. It's too much talking. Play ball.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, that injury. Definitely you don't feel good about it. But, hey, a win's a win, and we'll keep on moving forward. But that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to our first break, and when we come back, we're talking some wagering with Alan Bell.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11, here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
A lot of ladies here in Memphis are wearing beautiful diamond rings. Have you noticed? And a lot of gentlemen are wearing nice Rolex watches now. It's all thanks to Genesis Diamonds. Hey, it's Eric Hasseltine at Genesis Diamonds has made fine jewelry more affordable than ever. This is Tennessee's direct diamond import. No middleman pricing on the finest GIA certified diamonds. All shapes, all sizes, all in prices you never thought possible. And Genesis is the only jeweler that carries the top bridal designers in America. So you can find the perfect setting to showcase that diamond and have a truly one-of-a-kind ring. And something that I love, their incredible collection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches. These are all in pristine condition and priced right. Thanks to Genesis, you can get that Rolex you've dreamed about. All this with no commission salespeople, no pricing games, no pressure, no nonsense. Genesis Diamonds, the official jeweler of the Tennessee Titans, and Rob Perkins Extended. Online at GenesisDiamonds.com.
Yes, you could go to some chain restaurant for breakfast. Lots of people do. It's the obvious choice. Or you could go to Memphis's favorite homegrown breakfast places, Sunrise on Jefferson or Sunrise East on Poplar. Sunrise is a Memphis original, and you can rely on getting a fast, fresh breakfast, or lunch for that matter, with nothing coming off of the back of a truck frozen. Whether it's breakfast or lunch, it's all made right here in Memphis. There's a reason why the two locations of Sunrise are the Memphis destinations for great, fast, fresh food. It's Sunrise.
When you think about insurance and you want great value without sacrificing great service, I want you to think one place, the Eflin Insurance and the entire Eflin Insurance team. Matt and his group of professionals will access 10 leading companies to find the right home and auto program that fits your budget and your absolute needs. The Eflin Insurance team, the number 386-GER, 386-4777.
All 650 acquisition fee, 20,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte, RE 794, 626, MSRP 21,820, Telluride RG 543,666, MSRP 39,835, Sportage S734, 0278, MSRP 29,135, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, includes tax title and license, must finance through Hyundai with approved credit, valid through 9/30/24, dealers.com.
Hey, Jeff Allen, I hear it's a family affair over there in Gossett Kia, South Mount Moriah.
Yep, we've got something for everyone. 41 MPG Highway and a 2024 Kia Forte LXS, $199 a month, $37.99 due at signing. 2025 Kia Sportage, $269 per month, $34.99 due at signing. And a 2024 Kia Telluride S front-wheel drive, $359 per month, $39.99 due at signing. And a 2024 Kia EV9 Lite rear-wheel drive has 0% for 72 months available. You haven't heard 0% in a long time.
Plus, all those bad boys come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
Is your house slash your office building? Impossible! Not call Wilson's Pro Wash. Your house, fence, driveway, warehouse, store, hotel, even cars and trucks can all be squeaky clean and beautiful after pressure washing by Wilson's Pro Wash. Wilson's specializes in cleaning all hard surfaces, concrete, stone, brick, and mortar, even wood and vinyl siding. Then Wilson's can seal their surfaces so they stay looking brand new. Call Wilson's Pro Wash, 915-246-6799, or online at wilsonsprowash.com.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Finishing up that wreck we had earlier on 40 East at White Station as you head up the bridge. Traffic's on the increase out here now on all the major outbound routes. Visibility horrible in some areas. A lot of standing water on main and secondary arteries as this rain continues to affect rush hour traffic out here. Give yourself plenty of extra time. Weimer's Jewelry, located 7525 Highway 64, is your full-service, family-owned jewelry store right here in the Memphis area. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Brian Gates.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Brian and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios, and joining us now to talk some wagering, Alan Bell from the AB3 and Driving the Line. He joins us now. Alan, thanks so much for joining us. Going to get to a lot of picks here, but first I want to start with that Thursday night football game last night. Cowboys and Giants. Cowboys get a 5-point win. I believe that line was kind of hovering around 5.5, 6 pretty much all day yesterday, so that missed field goal late was really important to a lot of people. What did you make of that game last night? And the Cowboys, it didn't look great, but got a win after back-to-back losses.
They did. First off, man, I appreciate you guys having me back. And everybody out there, be safe with the weather.
Yeah.
I'm here in Nashville, and we've had it, all day. So hopefully everybody's okay. And you're right. You know what I miss is in games like that where there'd be a missed field goal, and you'd hear Brett Musburger go, "Oh, that's going to hurt." And a lot of people, they didn't know what that meant, but a lot of people did. You're right, man. You know what? For the Cowboys, it wasn't pretty, but you got to win. And that's all that matters in the NFL is you get that win and you move forward, especially in the division. And you know what? Hats off to Daniel Jones, man. He played a lot better than I thought that he would. But, yeah, I mean, Cowboys got the win. It wasn't pretty, but, buddy, you know what? That's all that matters, man.
Alan, let's go back to last week. The Titans don't play until Monday night. We picked that game on Monday. Titans at Dolphins, the first game, the 6:30 game on Monday Night Football on the field. Was that the lowest point in Titans history, having to suffer the humiliation of losing to Malik Willis?
It was bad. It wasn't good, right? Now, look, you could go back to the entire Ken Wisenhunt era. There's a lot of those in there. But, yeah, man, I mean, that's a tough one. And you know, credit to the Packers and Matt LaFleur and their entire locker room. You could tell that meant something to them, man. Like they were riding for their guy. That's a bad loss. The tough thing is that the Packers are a really good football team. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's like, you know, you didn't lose only to Malik Willis. But, buddy, I mean, he played great. He threw for 200-plus yards. He was dotting dudes down the field. Yeah, I mean, that's a hit to the pride right there. And, you know, Malik Willis, he earned it, man. Good for that kid, man.
Yeah, the Malik Willis revenge game for him against the Titans. Al, let's get to some of the games this weekend, and I'll start with one of the games in the noon slate, Saints and Falcons. Saints, they coming off a loss, but looked good in their first two games, and it was a narrow loss against the Eagles last weekend against a Falcons team that played Kansas City really close in that Sunday night football game last week. Right now, Atlanta, a 2.5-point favorite at home. The total sitting at 41.5. What do you like in this one?
You know what? I'm going to go with Atlanta here, 2.5. Look, I like the Saints. This is nothing negative against them, but, yeah, it was a tough game. They came back down to earth, you know, after starting where literally they just would score on every drive, right? And I think that gives a little bit more of a blueprint on what to do with this team, and I think the Falcons will take advantage of that. And especially, you know, the Falcons, they had a chance to win that game, you know, late, man. Like, if they'd have kicked a field goal and got the ball back, kicked another one, they'd have been all right. But I'm going to go with the Falcons. I honestly, I just think they're a better team. And again, it's nothing negative on New Orleans because you can't hate on what they've been doing. And I really like Derek Carr, but I just think the Falcons are a better team here, man. I'm going to roll with them to spend.
Alan Bell, he takes the Falcons laying the 2.5. We talked about the Packers. You think they're just a good team. They're 2-1, playing one of the undefeateds, Packers and Vikings. Green Bay -3 at Lambeau. Aaron Jones says he's going to do the leap.
Now, this is the stuff that I love, man. I love the petty when people bring it out, right? Look, I'm going to roll with the over 43.5 in this game. I think that you do have two good defenses, but they're two good defenses that generally lead to easier scoring for their offense, right? And I think that you're going to continue to see that. Jair Alexander for the Packers, cornerback, he's obviously a stud. We saw him take a pick six to the house against the Titans last week, and look, he's been doing that. He shuts down half the field, man. And it's going to be tough for Sam Darnold. I think that the Packers will have some good spots to score. I think the Vikings have good spots to score, and credit to them, man. I mean, they're playing out of their mind. They're better than what anybody thought they would be. But I'm going to roll with the over here. I don't want to mess with the spread, especially when you don't have Jordan Love back. I'll roll with the over on that one. Malik Willis in the over, baby. That's the new trend.
Alan, before we go any further with football, I know next week, starting with the baseball playoffs, 4 games, Tuesday, 4 Wednesday, you're going to have a lot of stuff with a lot of props, a lot of sides, a lot of baseball. Tell our listeners how they can play along with you and follow your picks next week and every week with the NFL and college, but next week with baseball.
Absolutely, man. At Driving the Line on YouTube. That's the easiest way. You can find me on Twitter as well, at Alan T. Bell. Every morning, 10 a.m. Eastern on YouTube, a really fun show, and we're going to get after it. You're exactly right. I cannot wait for baseball and the postseason to start because, man, look, I think that we all agree, like, baseball is just such a classic sport, and I cannot wait to get the postseason started because that's when it gets real, man. So, absolutely,
we can't wait, and our team's already waiting for pitchers and catchers report with the Cardinals.
There you go.
Alan, before we get to some more of these NFL games, I am curious what your thoughts are of this doubleheader that's going to be played Monday between the Mets and the Braves. I haven't seen any update on what they're doing. Right now, I guess if everything holds, you'll have the Mets and the Braves playing. At least one of those teams will be in the playoffs, maybe both of them. And it looks like as of right now, they'll have to turn right around after playing that doubleheader and play Tuesday unless Major League Baseball adjusts the schedule a little bit. How do you feel about this doubleheader on Monday?
Yeah, you bring up a great question, especially from a betting perspective, right? So, like you said, Monday, doubleheader, Mets at the Braves. You've got 12:10 Central and 3:40 Central are both games, okay? So what it's going to do, actually, is it's going to throw off the pitching rotation for these teams starting in the postseason because, like you said, at least one's going to get in. We could see both get in, but you're going to see aces go on Monday, number 2's on Monday as well. So that part is fascinating to me. Depending on the matchup, because obviously we'll need to see how it all, transpires, but there could be overs early to be had because you're going to see totals come out that are 7.5, 8, right? Like you see those, blast them because both of these teams know they're going to have to score runs. And when they want to, both of these teams, they can score.
I like that. Let's get back to the NFL and to another noon game. Steelers on the road against the Colts. Colts got their first win last week over Chicago. Steelers 3-0 out of nowhere with Justin Fields as the starting quarterback. Right now, Steelers a 2.5-point favorite. That total sitting at 40.5. What do you like in this one?
Well, I'll tell you this. I'm going to take the under in this game. Look, I'll roll Colts plus 2.5 as well. I like taking home dogs in low-scoring type affairs. And look, man, for the Pittsburgh Steelers, what they're doing is just amazing. Mike Tomlin, dude, there should be statues of this guy, right? But you're going to see the Colts. They don't really take the ball away from opposing teams. Now, they'll give it away. Anthony Richardson, their quarterback, is playing great, but he does have 6 interceptions already on the season. And Pittsburgh defense, they're going to come after him and put pressure on him. So I like the under 40.5. You're going to see a lot of trying to run the football. Don't make the big mistake with the quarterbacks. Not afraid to punt it. Yeah, I really like the under 40.5 here.
Before we get some college football, give us your favorite NFL game if we haven't mentioned it.
Eagles and Bucks under 43.5. We're going to go back to another under here. They're not fun to play. You have to sweat the entire game. But, look, the Eagles are going to be without Devontae Smith. They're going to be A.J. Brown is questionable. And, look, I love A.J. Brown. That dude is tough as nails. Like, if he could play, he'll play. However, I just don't know. Even if he is, like, you know, how much percentage you're going to get, 'cause he's been banged up. And the Eagles' offense really didn't look that great anyway, right? And then you take a look at the Bucs playing at home. They need to get this one, and it's really about just don't make a big mistake. And the Eagles don't bring a lot of pressure. They try to get it organically. So I see a lot of running the football, and I see this clock just running the entire time. I love it at under 43.5.
First college game I'm going to ask you about is Boomer Sooner going down on the Plains to Auburn. In the day, did you ever call the book, or have you ever tried going to a window with a losing ticket and say, you know, if we played this 9 more times, I would win. I don't feel like paying y'all right now, like Hugh Freeze talked about this week. You ever tried that?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that plan never seems to work out at all. You look at it, man. Look, it feels like they've been switching quarterbacks every single game. Oklahoma is going to a new quarterback as well. He played the second half against Tennessee. Oklahoma is without their top 5 wide receivers. Whoa. Tennessee's defense collecting pelts out here, and it has just injured this offense. That's why you see Auburn being a favorite in this game, even though Auburn has not looked good at all this year. You could give me the under 44.5. Oklahoma's quarterback, I like him, Hawkins Jr. He's solid, but he runs a lot. He has a lot of Malik Willis type of feel to him. You're going to see two teams that really have to lean on their defenses. I'll roll with the under 44.5. If I had to pick the spread, though, I'd take Oklahoma. Auburn is not a good football team. Oklahoma, even with the injuries, I still trust them.
Yeah. Another game in the SEC going off at the same time as that Oklahoma-Auburn game. Arkansas and Texas A&M is going to be played down at AT&T Stadium. Early in the week, this was about Texas A&M -4. Now it's starting to grow. Texas A&M a 6-point favorite right now. I'm curious. People think maybe Connor Wegman might suit up and play for A&M this weekend. The total sitting at 51.5. What do you like in this one?
Well, I'll say this. Look, I like the under 51.5. Look, if I had to take the spread, I would take Texas A&M, even though you're right. I mean, there are still questions out there. But I can't buy into Arkansas in full just yet. I like them, and I like Pittman, their head coach. But, man, they just scare me. Every time that I do wager on them, you know, it just doesn't work out for me. And it might just be me, right? Not that I fully believe in A&M either. But, yeah, my favorite would be the under here. But if I had to pick a spread, I would take A&M. 6.5, I'm not going. 6 is the highest that I'll go. I'll take A&M.
I don't know that A&M can score 6.
That's the problem. I know. Like, that's the thing is, like, I love the under, and I feel like I'm just like a broken record saying that. But you got a lot of teams really that just can't score. You know, it is a problem. Yeah, I'm with you, man. Like, this could be really low scoring, or it could be 70-50. You know, there's always that weird one. But yeah,
James Madison like breaks out.
That's right.
Yeah, I know. Hey, look, they're the new Appalachian State, and they've been that for a while. I don't know why teams are scheduling them. That's the last team that I want to play.
That's a good point.
That is a good point.
Good luck with future scheduling. You like either of those games tonight? One on ESPN, one on Fox. Anything on that?
Yeah.
Please tell me you had Army last night.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what's bad when Army's throwing passing touchdowns on you? You got problems, Hoss.
I didn't know they knew how.
Well,
yeah, no kidding, right? Look, Virginia Tech and Miami a 17.5-point favorite. That hook, it tells me the books know Miami's a big favorite and should be, but they don't know what to do with it, right? I think that playing the over 53.5, I'll ride with that, even though you got to pay attention to the weather down there. There's craziness going on. And then Washington and Rutgers. Rutgers is a very well-coached team, but I'll take Washington plus 1.5. I think they bounce back nicely.
Okay, all right. So a little bit of something on both games tonight. Alan, thanks again for joining us. Good luck this weekend, and we'll talk to you again next Friday.
Man, look forward to it, boys. Appreciate it. Y'all have a good weekend, and stay safe out there.
Thanks, Alan. Right back at you.
Thank you, Alan Bell, so much. Alan Bell, our friend with us every Friday talking all these games. And main thing is everybody, please do stay safe. He was on our Sissy's Log Cabin guest line where all our guests appear at 901-360-8255. Sissy's Log Cabin, the official jeweler of the hometown teams, the Memphis Grizzlies and the Memphis Tigers, official jeweler for the Grizzlies, and FedEx Forum with the Floor Seat Lounge. We're going to be down there Monday for Media Day. We're going to be back down there for preseason games and regular season games soon. And you can go back there into the lounge and look at all the beautiful jewelry that they have in display cases there at FedEx Forum. At 4542 Poplar, Bill Jones, his great team, they're here to stay. Mid-South's largest selection of one-of-a-kind jewelry, engagement rings, wedding bands, necklaces, earrings. Next Monday afternoon at 4:30, we will look back at the weekend in the SEC, brought to you by Sissy's Log Cabin. Since 1970, with all the great locations across Arkansas and Tennessee, they offer a selection of diamonds and state jewelry and fine gifts, unsurpassed value, exceptional service, expansive selection, and a truly extraordinary shopping experience, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Let's get to another break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about tomorrow's matchup between Memphis and Middle Tennessee. We'll do that next on Sports Time.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous, a legendary experience for over 75 years, whether you dine in, pick up, or ship across the country.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled, and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Fiveash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts and boots. Frontier is your top Carhartt store in the Mid-South. There's thousands of in-stock shirts and jeans. They have the classic K87 pocket tee in every color they make, including new ones just released. Available small to 4X. Want new jeans? Frontier has you covered with super tough work denim by Carhartt. And you've got to check out their selection of Ariat jeans for men, women, and children. You'll love how easy it is to find the size and style you need. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled world-famous boot showroom? It continues to expand. New styles by Ariat just arrived, plus plenty of in-stock proven classics too. Whether you need work or dress boots, trust that Frontier's the place to come. See thousands of pairs of Ariat boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, Twisted X, and others. And Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
Make your next grill your last with a Big Green Egg. Smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill, all with a lifetime warranty. Save money on fuel, eating out, and replacing expensive grills that cannot match the flavor of the Big Green Egg. Ready to cook in only 10 to 15 minutes with temperatures below 200, above 700, and anywhere in between with ease. Change your at-home cooking experience for life. Go to shop.biggreenegg.com.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stack, Sports Movie, and Brian Davis.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. We're about to talk some Tigers as they're back at home tomorrow evening against Middle Tennessee. But I mentioned it earlier in the show, the fine people over at Sissy's Log Cabin, they were nice enough to give us a couple pairs of tickets to give away for tomorrow night's game against Middle. So we'll give away a pair right now. We'll give away a second pair probably about 4:30 or so. So if you don't win right now, keep listening. We'll give another pair away later. But go ahead. We'll take first caller to the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line, 901-360-8255. That's 901-360-8255. If you want to go see the Tigers take on Middle Tennessee tomorrow night, be the first caller and you will win those tickets. But Brett, I'll ask you, because you have seen this team play against Ole Miss earlier in the season. What should Memphis expect to see tonight or tomorrow night from Middle?
Well, they're seeing a team that in his first year, Derek Mason is really revamping the team. You know, out was the long, great tenure of Rick Stockstill, that Coach Tommy West was a part of that staff, and they were out after a long, great run there last year. And in the ever-changing world of college football, especially when you have a coaching change, you're going to have a new team.
That's right.
And they did. So Coach Derek Mason trying to establish his team. They're in a personnel deficit right now. That's the kindest way I know how to put it.
Sure.
And Memphis really should get well tomorrow night against them at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium.
Yeah, it feels like it. And it feels like this could be a game where, you know, the defense really, you know, gets back to looking like they looked for those first three games of the season. It looks like just kind of seeing bits and pieces of games that I've seen and really kind of looking at a lot of the stats and different things. Doesn't look like they have a very good run game. It does not look like their offensive line is very good. And I think it's pretty banged up going into this weekend. Their quarterback's thrown 4 interceptions, 5 touchdowns on the season. So this could be a game after a lot of talk this week about how poor the defense was for the Tigers against Navy. This could be a game where you can really, you know, get something going, maybe get a couple takeaways and really limit Middle Tennessee.
And save the season, and I think they can. I think the Tigers will quickly dispatch of Middle tomorrow night, almost in the record time that the tickets disappeared. Wow, that was fast.
Yeah, well, and that's good. I'm glad.
Overwhelming.
Yes, I'm glad that people are excited about tomorrow night being back
Me too.
at
These are
Simmons
great
Bank
seats,
Liberty.
too.
They are, and so, you know, I'll say it again. If you weren't able to win that pair just now, congratulations if you were the lucky winner. But we do have one more pair of tickets to give away. We'll do that probably about 4:30 or so. So keep listening in, and we'll give those away for another big game for the Tigers.
For Memphis, though, last weekend was so humbling.
Yeah.
A good win tomorrow night, correct things, change the narrative a little bit around town. Open date, that's good. And then a challenge that was going to be a challenge before last week happened or not. And that's the road trip to Tampa St. Pete to play
That's right.
USF. Aren't you glad you're not trying to go down there this weekend?
Man, absolutely. You definitely don't want to be there this weekend. And you know, we mentioned it yesterday when kind of looking around college football. You know, that's going to be a big game tomorrow. I believe an 11 o'clock game between South Florida and Tulane that I think a lot of Tiger fans are going to be watching because you're going to see both of those teams, both those games on the road. Yeah, tomorrow at 11 a.m. on ESPNU as USF will be at Tulane. So, you know, that's going to be a big game to keep an eye on because, you know, when you look at the rest of the schedule, yes, I understand nobody was saying Navy was going to be a game to look out for or a big game, but you look at the rest of the schedule and those are two of the biggest games left on the slate.
Army wins last night, 42-14.
Sure did.
Bryant mentioned the game tomorrow. Also tomorrow, 3 o'clock, UTSA at East Carolina. Hope everybody can get there. That's the game Richard Cross was supposed to do. 5 o'clock tomorrow, FAU hosts Wagner. 6 o'clock tomorrow night, UAB at home against Navy. Let's see.
Yeah.
I'm ready to see the Navy quarterback and see if he's Roger Staubach against everybody. Tomorrow night at 6, Rice hosts Charlotte. At 6 o'clock, North Texas hosts Tulsa. And at 6:30, we know the Tigers host MTSU.
Yeah, so definitely some things to keep an eye on, but definitely that 11 o'clock slate with Navy against UAB, South Florida against Tulane. We can see is this Navy team the Navy team that they looked like against Memphis.
What do we want to see?
I think you want to see Navy dominate. I think that's what you want to see.
I do too.
I think
so, because then you can go, well, okay, well,
sure,
they're good.
Sure. And I also would love to see, that
what
stat
if it's 42-14 UAB?
Well, then I think, then the big uh-oh. But I would also like to see Navy and obviously Army did their part last night, but seeing both those teams at 4-0 would be fun. But was it first time since forever? 45. Good Lord. Army has looked good. They made it look easy last night against Temple. You asked Allen if he had it. You're talking to somebody that had Army minus 13.5 last night. So we might bet on the midshipmen tomorrow.
Gaming is easy, isn't it?
Well, it was easy in that game, but I don't know about the rest of it. But no, I think tomorrow will be a good game for the Tigers. And I think the other thing is, what does this team look like from a health standpoint? And obviously, I don't think they'll have issues tomorrow with Middle, and then you get the off week before going against USF. But a handful of guys that I don't know how Ryan Silverfield would list them if he had to list them on an injury report, but a couple of guys that were certainly questionable at the beginning of the week. Be interesting to see if they can go out there and play tomorrow against Middle. And some of those guys that, I know Elijah Herring was held out of last week's game, but was suited up, probably could have gone if they really needed him to. Do they play him? If they do, is he kind of on a snap count? What does it look like for some of these guys that are a little banged up?
Yeah, that'll be fun to watch tomorrow night. I think this game is about Memphis.
Yeah, absolutely is. So it'll be fun tomorrow night, 6:30 at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. If you can't make it, that game will be on ESPNU. But we need to wrap up our first hour and get to a break. And when we come back, we will talk some more wagering with Bruce Marshall from Vegas Insider, CBS Sports, and BAMSports.net. We'll do that next on Sports Time.
Hello, sports fans out there. Walker Taylor here with the Germantown and Collierville Commissary. We just celebrated our 43rd year in business, and I would like to thank our fantastic customers and especially our loyal staff. Time has flown by. We now have a second location, Poplar and Houston Levy in Collierville. Catering is a specialty of ours. 50 to 5,000, no job too small, no job too big. Full service or self-service. We also have a party room in Collierville that is great for rehearsal dinners, business meetings, you name it, we'd love to have you. Also, our barbecue party packs start at $8.75 a person. Barbecue, beans, slaw, bun sauce, including serving utensils. Especially great for tailgating with football season coming up. The commissary restaurants also believe in giving back to the community. Possibly you have been approached by somebody selling a barbecue 6-pack coupon for fundraising. Cheerleading groups, church groups, anything to help a worthy cause. Holidays are near. Smoked hams and smoked turkeys will be on the pit before you know it. Come see us at Germantown and Collierville Commissary. Also check us out at commissarybarbecue.com.
Mitsubishi's final days of summer sales event is about to be gone, so you better hurry to Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Get 42 MPG Highway and 2024 Mitsubishi Mirage, $17,930 or $299 a month. 2024 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, we Gossett at $27,245 or $349 a month. And get 420 total range MPGE and 2024 Outlander PHEV, $32,750 or $390 a month. Plus, you'll never go wrong with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Get to Gossett Mitsubishi today at 1870 Covington Pike and 24/7 at MemphisMitsubishi.com. That's Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
14,767, MSRP 18,430, Eclipse RZO 65,450, MSRP 28,745, PHEV RZO 66681, MSRP 42,750, includes all rebates and incentives, $1,095 acquisition fee, 25 cents per mile, excess wear and tear, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit, dealer stock only.
To understand what makes Genesis Diamonds so different than other jewelry stores, you have to go back over 40 years to the diamond cutting capital of Tel Aviv, Israel. That's where Genesis owner Boaz Ramon grew up, in the center of the diamond universe. His connections with the best diamond cutters allowed him special access, giving rise to a thriving wholesale business here in the United States. Then, after a few years, this wholesaler changed the game and started selling these precious diamonds direct to the public at the same prices he had sold to the jewelry stores. The no middleman concept became an instant success. Today, Genesis Diamonds provides that extraordinary value to people right here in Middle Tennessee, leading the industry with the highest quality diamonds that still come straight from the best cutters, offered at the guaranteed best price of any jewelry store in America. Genesis Diamonds, a truly revolutionary concept with a unique history rooted in quality, committed to excellence, and always focused on value. Genesis Diamonds, luxury premium Rolexes, and popular Morgans Extended.
Everyone needs protection, whether you're on the field or on the road, so make sure you have the best. Bob Simpson State Farm Insurance can buckle you up with auto insurance, can back you up with life and health insurance, cover your business whether it's starting, growing, or maturing, and don't forget to insure your home, no matter if you're an owner or a renter. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call Bob Simpson today at 901-381-1233 or go online and get a free quote at bobsimpson.org. Stay protected with your good neighbor, Bob Simpson.
Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom gate solutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial needs, including repairs, maintenance, and installation. Automatic Gates Construction specializes in designing and installing automatic gates and fencing that seamlessly blends security, functionality, and aesthetic appeal. Elevate the safety and efficiency of your property with a premium gate solution. Automatic Gates Construction at myautomaticgates.com.
It's time to get your Kia on at Gossett Kia on the bike with 41 MPG and new 2024 Kia Forte LXS $199 a month, $37.99 to its signing. 2025 Kia Sportage $269 a month, $34.99 to its signing. And 2024 Kia Telluride S $359 a month, $39.99 to its signing. And 0% for 72 months on 2024 Kia EV9 Lite available. Plus, you always get peace of mind with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Call Bobby J. He's ready to put you in your new Kia today. That's Gossett Kia 1900 Covington Pike or online KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Acquisition fee $20,000 per year, 20 cents excess mileage. Forte RE 794 626 MSRP 21820. Telluride RG 453 666 MSRP 39835. Sportage S73 40278 MSRP 29135. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 includes TTNL. Must finance through Hyundai with approved credit valid through 9/30/24. Dealer stock only.
This Sports 56 traffic report is brought to you by Luttrell Building. They keep you moving.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. I'm looking at this crash over here on 40 eastbound at White Station. It's got traffic a little bit slow. Visibility's not the best in the world out here, that's for sure, with all this rain moving through our area. Lots of standing water on main and secondary arteries. Give yourself a little bit of extra time out here. I think you're going to need it this afternoon. Hey, don't miss the Paul Prince Party coming up tomorrow at the Humane Society of Memphis, Shelby County. Take a tour. Meet some of the animals. For more information about this event, log on right now to memphishumane.org. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
This is Original Sports Station. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253 DF Memphis. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Wilson's Car Wash, residential and commercial pressure washing service you can trust. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacon.
Welcome back in to Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. As always, our 4 o'clock hour brought to you by Wilson's Pro Wash. We got to get to some more wagering and get to some more college picks with Bruce Marshall. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get to Bruce Marshall.
Joining the guys every Friday is college football historian and Vegas legend Bruce Marshall from Vegas Insiders, CBS Sports, and his own website, GameSports.net. With over 30 years on Memphis radio, he became the captain in sports talk here
Bruce Marshall joins us from Vegas Insider, CBS Sports, and BAMSports.net. A really good slate this weekend, Bruce, so let's get it started, and let's start with a matchup in the SEC. Brighton early tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Brett will be there down at the Grove. Kentucky on the road against Ole Miss. Right now, Ole Miss a 16-point favorite. That total sitting at 52.5. Do you like anything in this one, Bruce?
I might lean to Ole Miss a little bit here. I guess now we're going to start finding out a little bit more about the Rebs. The schedule's going to start getting tougher when you get into SEC play. In Kentucky, we saw, Bryant, what the Cats did to jam the gearbox on Georgia a couple weeks ago. But Brock Vandegrift's still a little bit – I don't trust this offense. It's still a little bit choppy. And how many times have we seen Lane, even in a game where Ole Miss was having some trouble for a while, end up putting the game away late with some late scores? They've been notorious for doing that. This might be the most explosive team he's had in his few years there in Oxford. I think Ole Miss probably gets there in the end. 34-13, my score forecast here. So I think the Rebels probably do it. I just don't trust Kentucky's defense is tough, I know, but I just don't have enough faith in that Kentucky offense to trade points tomorrow at Vaught Hemingway.
Yeah, I like those Kentucky wide receivers, but Brock Vandegrift's had trouble getting it to them. I don't think their offensive line's as good as Mark Stoops is used to. Tomorrow in the Grove. The next Ole Miss home game is not until October 26th. Hide the women and children. The next time Ole Miss is having a home game, Bruce Marshall will be in the Grove at the Oklahoma game.
How about that?
Yes. Yeah, we're already arranging how to do it. So, yeah, I will be there in 4 weeks and counting.
Ready to see you. The big one in Tuscaloosa tomorrow night. Break it down for us. Bama. It's kind of seesawed. Some places Georgia's the favorite now. 1.5. Not a lot of variance there between Bama and Georgia, is it?
Yeah, Brett. This is one of those games they put up a price on this game early too. So it started out like 4.5 Georgia, which I thought was too high. Back in the spring when they first put number up on this game, and Georgia has generally stayed a very slight favorite. I don't think the right team is favored here. I make my own numbers on these games. I'd have Bama 3.5 by my numbers because I've got these teams pick them on a neutral field. The odds makers are telling us they got Georgia about 4 points better. I don't buy that. Georgia's gotten to the point here, and this is all credit to Kirby, where now the perception is that they're the best team no matter what, and we're going to price them like that, and that's sort of been anointed somehow, some way. Even if Alabama beats Georgia, like it did last year in the SEC title game, the odds makers would still said, "Well, we'll favor Georgia again if they happen to play again." That's just the way it is right now. I think that's off, and it's not the reality. The reality is just happening on the field. My question about Georgia right now, and why I am not sure they are as good as the last couple of years. We saw it in the Kentucky game. And I know Georgia people are saying we always have a game like that every year, including, Kentucky, Missouri a couple of years ago, really close calls like that. But Kentucky really jammed the gearbox on that Georgia offense last week. And without McConkey and Brock Bowers in particular, who were so important, and Beck really leaned on those guys a lot, and as did Stetson Bennett before that. I don't think this offense is quite as potent as it was. Believe me, we know about, all the following Coach Saban and stuff. It looks almost like, Kalen DeBoer is sort of oblivious to all this stuff. Perfect hire, I think. I think Milroe is more likely to make big plays than Beck. Alabama can hold its own at the line of scrimmage definitely here. They haven't been an underdog at home since Coach Saban's first year, 2007. Against LSU. That's a long time. I don't think they should be any bit of an underdog here. By me, they should be favored. And I think Bama wins 26-20. Now, one other note. These teams could meet again, possibly even 3 times this season. But Georgia's got to watch something here. They got drawn a very tough schedule this year in the SEC. Compare their schedule to like Texas. Georgia better be a little careful here. They still got to go to Austin. It's and others. It's a tough schedule for Georgia. So I think it's almost more important for them to win this game than Bama, but I don't think they will.
Bruce, I'm calling it Bama +1. Everywhere right now you're seeing Georgia laying the 1 point, so you take Bama to win the game outright. It's a real possibility for someone in the SEC to play in Atlanta potentially 3 times. SEC championship game, the Elite Eight, the quarterfinals, that will be the Peach Bowl, and then the College Football National Championship game on Monday, January 20th, 2025. That will be in Atlanta. It could be some Atlanta fatigue or feel real good going to Atlanta that many times.
I know. I mean, it's going to be get used to being in Atlanta. It's like that's going to be the center of the college football universe from about the first weekend in December onward.
That's what they want.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible these two teams could meet 3 times. But one of the things to remember this season, we talked about this before, Brent and Bryant. One loss this season doesn't necessarily hurt you. So we might be everybody's making a big deal about this game this week, but you're going to see teams of 1, 2, possibly even 3 losses in the 12-team playoffs.
But I don't think it's devalued this weekend.
I kind of like Bama here.
Do you think it's devalued tomorrow? I don't.
A little bit. It's going to take a while for us to kind of digest this playoff thing, and games like this are still big in the regular season. But we might look back in January, Brett, and say, geez, this is the 3rd time these teams are playing this year. Why were we so excited about that September game? We'll see. It's still a big game, and for right now, for this weekend, it is the feature game on the schedule.
Absolutely. Bruce, going to another game in the SEC tomorrow afternoon, Oklahoma on the road against Auburn. Neither team has looked very good in their first SEC games. Oklahoma losing at home to Tennessee, and Auburn dropping to Arkansas last week. Both teams, it feels like, has issues at the quarterback position, but right now, Auburn a 1-point favorite, the total sitting at 44.5. What do you like in this one?
Good question. I don't really like either of these teams right now. You mentioned that thing about the quarterbacks. I know Auburn ain't that great, and I'm thinking Oklahoma might not be that great either. Good, not great. It's a little early for Brent Venables to be pulling the plug on Jackson Arnold, although Hawkins did give them a little more of a spark against Tennessee last week. But, I mean, Arnold was supposed to be the next coming there, the next savior, and now that it looks like they've already made a switch away from him. So I just don't know where this offense is going. Auburn, though, we talked about this last week, I think, guys, in where Hugh Freeze is at right now. Hank Brown, that one game against New Mexico looked good, and then the wheels came off again last week, back to Thorne. He didn't look good. I don't know what Freeze is going to do. You got to wonder, I mean, with all the quarterbacks who have been sloshing around the portal here and all around the S, we saw one last week in Auburn. We saw Taylon Green in Arkansas. He was out there from Boise. We've seen Pavia at Vanderbilt, Blake Shapen at Mississippi State. A lot of quarterbacks around. Mertz at Florida last year. Better than Thorne and better than Hank Brown. And I just wonder what Hugh Freeze has been thinking and what his staff's been thinking, because he does not have a quarterback who can win games in the SEC. For that reason, and if Hawkins is like I think he is, I think Oklahoma has the edge. Sooners, 24-20 tomorrow at Jordan-Hare.
That will be a good game. Boomer over War Eagle down at Jordan-Hare. Let's go to the Big Ten. And did you take a little delight in Michigan just lining it up last week and running it down USC's throat?
Brett, it was funny because you and I are both old enough. Bryant might not be, but we can remember when USC used to win games like that, when they would win those line of scrimmage games. Yeah, I mean, they don't do that anymore, and you saw that last week. I mean, a team with so it's about as one-dimensional as you get still won the game. I do not think that bodes that great for Michigan down the road. They need to balance things out a little bit better, but it certainly does not bode well for USC in this new league.
Not at all.
And USC tomorrow will be in your old backyard at the Coliseum playing SC.
That's right.
Well, can I give you a quick little history note on that game tomorrow? Wisconsin's going to be playing USC. The last time Wisconsin played a game in the LA Coliseum, 1980, against UCLA, 35-0 Bruins, and I was there. I had UCLA season tickets then.
Of course,
the time before Wisconsin played at the LA Coliseum, September 1966. I was there. I was in third grade, but I was there. So the last two times Wisconsin has played at the LA Coliseum, I was there both times. So you'd think maybe Wisconsin should give me. I might be the only guy on earth who can say that. So you'd think maybe Wisconsin should send me a ticket for tomorrow. I don't. I'm in Las Vegas. I don't think I can go.
Ticket? They ought to let you go out for the coin toss.
Well, here's the one. The two games I saw that year, my Uncle Lyle, cousin David, Aunt Rose used to take me sometimes to USC games. They played Wisconsin and Clemson. Really, they played Clemson. But it was Frank Howard's Clemson. They weren't that great. 38-3 and 30-0. USC did not kick a successful extra point in either of those games. I think they missed 3, and they made 1 of 6 two-point conversion tries. The Clemson game was 30-0, 5 touchdowns, no extra points converted. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that, but just a statistical quirk from 1966 USC.
How about that?
That's the CBS game tomorrow, 2:30 Central. USC laying the 15. Who you like for 2024?
I'm going to lean to Wisconsin. I'm going to lean USC there, 35-16, only because what Michigan did last week, I don't think Wisconsin can do, Brett. And we've talked about this. I think in the past year with Wisconsin, they don't have that identity they used to have, and they haven't had that for a couple of years. The Barry Alvarez years, the Bielema years, even most of Paul Chryst years, they would just line you up and knock you over. They ain't doing that. They certainly didn't do that with Fickle last year. They're not doing it yet this year. And they don't have, and Van Dyke, I'm not sure about his status at quarterback, not that he's been lighting it up for Wisconsin anyway, thus far the transfer from Miami. I think SC bounces back because I just don't think Wisconsin's that good. Second division Big Ten team, they're just not able to line it up and knock you over like they used to be able to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious about this game tomorrow night, Illinois and Penn State. Right now, Penn State a 19.5-point favorite over the undefeated Illini. Is this number a little too big for Penn State?
Well, I was going to ask you, Bryant and Brett, what you guys thought about this game. This would have been one of the ones I brought up, so I'm glad you mentioned it. I bet you guys think this spread is too high. It sounds like you do. I certainly think it's too high.
Yeah.
I'm not sure quite where Penn State is at. They had that tough game at Bowling Green a couple weeks ago. Bowling Green did play A&M pretty tough last week, so I don't want to knock a win over Bowling Green. But how about Illinois? 4-0. It looks like Luke Altmaier is now a lot more comfortable running this Bielema offense than he was last year. The defense looks a little bit more stout. They have beaten Kansas in a good game. They have won at Nebraska in overtime. Remember last year, a little bit of an adjustment after the coordinator Walters left for Purdue, and the defense seemed to lose a little step last year. They had some injuries, lost some close games. It was not a good year, but Brett Bielema generally, I mean, his teams are line of scrimmage teams. They play defense, and he's got a pretty good dog record. Even that game last year was a little closer than the score indicated at Champaign-Urbana. I think Penn State's going to have trouble just winning this game, much less nearly 3 touchdowns. 27-20 Nittany Lions. This is one of my favorite games. Tomorrow, taking the points at the Fighting Illini.
I like that a lot. Another one kind of here locally, Arkansas down in Arlington, Texas at AT&T Stadium going up against Texas A&M. This line has been moving in favor of A&M. Earlier this week, it was around 4.5. Now it's sitting at 6 points. A&M -6. Right now, the total is sitting at 51.5. You like anything in this one?
I'm thinking dog here, although the series trends here, a lot of these games have been close, and always in Jerry world, and Jerry's going to be there cheering for Arkansas, his alma mater.
Of course.
But it's almost always A&M winning. I mean, they've won 9 of the last 10 of these games, and they've usually been awfully close. And so I see no reason why this one shouldn't be either. I'm still not quite sure how far along the A&M offense is with Weigman. This goes back to Jimbo when he was there before Elko, but I still think Haynes King is better than the quarterbacks who've come after him at A&M, for whatever that is worth. Arkansas, that was big last week. We were talking, Brett, we were talking about this in Dallas, about if Sam Pittman might be on the hot seat this year, and there was a couple of people down there who told us they thought Arkansas was going to be fine this year, and I'm not sure if I believe them, but maybe they are. Taylon Green is a great fit. The Petrino factor, and again, this is the Petrino factor. Short run, he can help you. The problems with him come when he stays at the party too long. Third or fourth year with him around, then things start going off the rails. But right now, he's got the offense doing what he wants it to do. They can run the football, and Green is kind of a playmaker. I think Arkansas wins this one, and Jerry will be all happy about that. Total, right about in that total. But I'm going to go 27-24 Razorbacks, slight upset down in Jerry World tomorrow.
Well, our scores are right there. I'm with you, and I'll say it again. Anything you want to say negative about Bob Petrino, whatever, how it ended at Arkansas the first time, on game day, with that headset on the sideline, and that Waffle House play sheet in front of him, it's not fair. And with the helmet communication with a younger, newer quarterback, that really helps him a lot. Bruce, you're right. At SEC Media Day, so many people talking about that. Sam Pittman can really work himself out of some trouble with this big win tomorrow.
Yeah, he can. This is the big one. Now, they got that one at Auburn. That was big. And that makes me think, now they're Arkansas probably, guys, they probably should have won that game at Oklahoma State, too. I mean, they could very easily be sitting here 4-0 right now. So they got the wrong team favored. They might have the wrong team favored. I almost think Arkansas is the better side. We'll find out tomorrow.
Bruce, you talk about games and trips and good times with family members and friends from yesteryear. We all have those. I may ask you this every week. This weekend, and so looking forward to you being with me and with us at Ole Miss against Oklahoma in late October. This weekend, if you could go to any college football game in the country, where would you go?
Probably Tuscaloosa, just to go. I mean, just because of the game.
Sit in the box with President Trump. Yeah,
yeah. But on a normal weekend, now, Army played last night in Philadelphia, so the link is not at the top. But if Army was playing at home, that would be my choice to go to West Point first. So that would always be my choice. Can I say something about Army real quick?
Please.
Sure.
And Navy. Now, Navy, we might get around. I'll throw this one out there. Navy over UAB is one of my favorite picks for tomorrow. And this new coordinator, Drew Cronick, that Newberry has brought up from Mercer, where he was, and Lenore Ryan before that, they were running like a wing T. And all of a sudden, Navy and Blake Horvath asked Memphis fans, you guys saw him last week. I mean, Memphis couldn't stop Navy. I want to just look, I'm getting over my skis here a bit, but in the American, with the Army running roughshod over people, and Navy undefeated. Now, these teams both play Notre Dame later in the year, but there's a chance these two could finish 1-2 in the American. And can you imagine if they play in the conference title game, and then they have their regularly scheduled game after that? And a winner of the American, whoever it is, I mean, is likely to be involved in the mix for that last playoff spot. Can you imagine if Army and or Navy are involved with that? And then they have that.
Let it play out.
They could play 2 games in a row at the end of the season. Wouldn't that be something?
That would be incredible.
So anyway, just a thought. But tomorrow, Navy minus 3.5. I saw UAB couldn't handle Navy last year when Navy had a much more basic option. I think tomorrow Navy handles that number and continues its hot streak.
I like that. You mentioned Navy. They got the better of Memphis last week. Now Memphis returns home to face Middle Tennessee right now. Memphis a 26-point favorite. That total sitting at 60.5. You like anything in this one?
Memphis, but it all depends if Ryan Silverfield wants to score a lot tomorrow or if they just can't help it. I really believe that Middle Tennessee erred in hiring Derek Mason. Brett, you might have seen Mason last year in Nashville because he was there at Media Day. last year because he was working a little bit in the media, and he's
Yeah.
acting sort of like a rock star.
I've
like
seen
Mason.
Middle in person this year, Bruce, against Ole Miss.
Well, you did. That's right. And then 52-3, and that probably could have been worse. Mason was a terrible hire, a guy who has already made his money. He's not hungry like some of these other guys are hungry, like that guy that Newberry brought up from Mercer to help at Navy. To get rid of Rick Stockstill, maybe I was getting a little stale with Stockstill, but this was a bad hire by Middle Tennessee, and they will regret it. He is a big cut beneath Stockstill. You saw it Ole Miss did in person, Brett. We saw Western Kentucky ran up the score, and they are horrible this year. They haven't covered a point spread yet. I think if Memphis wants tomorrow, they can name this score, and I'm going to go 48-14 Tigers.
I like it. Bruce, before we let you go, didn't get any NFL picks for you. Do you have a favorite NFL play for Sunday?
I'm going to go over the total with Cincinnati and Carolina, and this has a lot to do with Andy Dalton, but I think it's worth pointing out. Last year, he started one game for Carolina, and that was their best offensive game of the year. 64 points in a game total. That's where it landed up at Seattle. Last week against the Raiders, the game landed 58. Raiders still scored late, but Carolina can score points with Dalton. Suddenly you have an NFL quarterback there. Cincinnati is very desperate this week. I think this game, high 20s, low 30s both ways. Over the total, Bengals-Panthers Sunday.
I like it. Bruce, where can we find more of you?
Thanks, Bryant. Check me out online, VegasInsider.com. Picks on all these. We got another weekend of MLB. Plus, we had a good 3-0 day yesterday, and we got college football and NFL. VegasInsider.com. You can also see my stuff, CBS Sportsline, Sportsline.com, and my new sites, Winners and Winers, WHINERS.com, and PicksandParlays.com.
Bruce, good luck this weekend. We'll talk to you again Friday.
Okay, boys. Thank you.
Thanks, Bruce.
Thank you, Bruce.
Bruce Marshall joining us from Vegas Insider, CBS Sports, BAMSports.net. Make sure check them out on Winners and Winers as well. Do me a favor. If you're driving down the road, maybe don't close your eyes, but picture this for me. Your house beautifully clean and pristine. Does that seem impossible? Not if you call Wilson's Pro Wash. Their Gentle Touch Pro Wash will restore your house, fence, driveway, commercial building, and more to their very best. Wilson specializes in cleaning all hard surfaces from concrete to stone, brick to mortar, and even wood to vinyl siding. Then Wilson's can seal your surfaces so they stay looking brand new. Wilson's Pro Wash, clean is their mission. They'll wash away everything but your sins. So give them a call at 901-524-6799. That's 901-524-6799 or online at wilsonsprowash.com. Well, we need to get to another break, and when we come back, we'll take a look at the weekend in the SEC. That's next on Sports Time.
Life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
All 650 acquisition fee, 20,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte, RE 794, 626, MSRP 21,820, Telluride RG 543,666, MSRP 39,835, Sportage S734,0278, MSRP 29,135, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, includes tax, title, and license, must finance through Hyundai with approved credit, valid through 9/30/24, dealer stock only.
Hey, Jeff Allen, I hear it's a family affair over there in Gossett Kia, South Mount Moriah.
Yep, we've got something for everyone. 41 MPG Highway and a 2024 Kia Forte LXS, $199 a month, $37.99 due at signing. 2025 Kia Sportage Sportage $269 per month, $34.99 due at sight. And a 2024 Kia Telluride S front-wheel drive, $359 per month, $39.99 due at sight. And a 2024 Kia EV9 Lite rear-wheel drive has 0% for 72 months available. You haven't heard 0% in a long time.
Plus, all those bad boys come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
Napa Cafe celebrates 26 years in 2024. Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I want to thank you for making us part of your dining experiences. If you are a first-time guest or have dined with us countless times, I want to thank you for making us part of your lives. Whether you're celebrating with the crowd or planning a cozy date night on the town, Napa Cafe can provide you an extraordinary evening. We have 5 dining rooms, including our private wine cellar, our Jan's room for 2 guests, and the Eleanor room for parties up to 60. Sit back, relax, and celebrate. Leave the cooking to us. Come see me at Napa Cafe, 5101 Sanderlin Avenue. We're open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. We also offer curbside pickup from our full menu. For details on our stay-in, dine-out menu or reservations, visit our website at napacafe.com. Come join us as we celebrate 26 years of Napa Cafe in 2024. We can't wait to serve you.
Family Leisure is having the world's biggest spa set. It's happening right now. You can save thousands on in-stock hot tubs that are ready to be delivered. Family Leisure has spas that start at just $28.99. You know those cold plunges? You can get one for yourself starting at $39.99. Or how about swim spas? They start at $17,499. Plus, Family Leisure has set up special financing just for this event. Have you been sitting on the fence about an above-ground pool? Get off that fence and get to Family Leisure to take advantage of huge discounts on all their in-stock above-ground pools. And if you need some patio furniture, it's all priced to move out now. It's not too late to have some summer fun, courtesy of Family Leisure. But you better hurry up. The world's biggest spa sale might go on forever. Family Leisure. Whitten Road at I-40. Family and fun come together.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
I'm with John Burgos from the world-famous Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948.
Brett, we have catered parties all over this country and all over the world, from Singapore, Australia to Central Park in New York. But many people don't realize how much we do locally. For holiday events, office parties, tailgating, birthday parties, you can't do better than the Rendezvous. For example, you can get a cheese and sausage tray for 15 to 300 people for $3.75 per person. You can even build your own nacho bar for $10.50 per person. All you need is a minimum of 15 people. In many cases, we can arrange delivery and full-service catering. We've even made it easy to get to-go items. You can just park at our front door in the alley, put on your flashes, and we'll get you going ASAP. For all your catering items and prices, go to hogsfly.com, click on menu, and drop down to catering.
Thank you, John. The Rendezvous, Mr. Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948 and celebrating its 75th year.
Traffic brought to you by 901 Eats to Go, 3135 Kirby Whitten Road in Bartlett. Pick up, DoorDash, Uber Eats, or online at 901eats.com. Eats with a Z. Good food fast.
Sports 56 traffic.
On 40 eastbound just past White Station. That's why it's been a little bit slow coming down past Covington Pike now on 40 going eastbound as you approach White Station. Visibility not the best in the world out here in certain areas as this rain moves through our area. A lot of standing water in certain areas. It's gotten heavier on 240 east at times, passing Perkins, getting on to 385 Bill Morris Parkway. Don't miss the Paul Prince Party tomorrow at the Humane Society of Memphis, Shelby County. Take a tour, meet some of the animals. It's going to be fun. Check it out online at memphisHumane.org. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports
Welcome back into Sports Time. Brian and Brett with you on this Friday afternoon. And earlier, we talked a lot about the Tigers and Middle Tennessee. They will play each other tomorrow night at 6:30 here at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. We gave away one pair of tickets. I mentioned we have another pair of tickets to give away. We're going to do that now. So first caller to the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line, 901-360-8255. You will win a pair of tickets to tomorrow night's game against Middle Tennessee. So make sure to hit up the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line, 901-360-8255 if you want to go see the Tigers in action tomorrow night. But Brett, we need to talk some SEC football here. A good slate, I think, tomorrow. A handful of teams with off weeks in the SEC, but it all gets started tomorrow morning down in Oxford between Kentucky and Ole Miss.
Yeah, real early start. I love that. I know a lot of fans don't. Man, last week wait until 6:45 for that game to start. I like early because I'm up early, and we will be on the air bright and early. A good test for Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think Ole Miss is real good, but I also fully recognize they just haven't played anyone.
Yeah,
I think two of those four teams are just very few. Maybe if they played each other, maybe somebody could get a win. If Furman played Middle.
Yeah, I think so too. But, and I think
Georgia Southern has some hope, though.
Oh,
Clay.
yeah. Oh,
Helton.
Definitely, 100%. But I think, this is a good opponent to start SEC play for Ole Miss. No disrespect to Kentucky at all, but this isn't jumping in the deep end and taking on Georgia or Alabama.
Or going to Bama like we have a lot of years in this spot.
Exactly. You get to you get to start at home against a Kentucky team that I think is very beatable, but also I think can give you a challenge. And so, I think this is a good test for them. I think that line is set at a really good spot for tomorrow's game at 16. So, it's going to be interesting, and, we'll see if they can cover that.
The rest of the Ole Miss schedule sets up favorably, but all that goes to where if you don't win. 11 o'clock, Sean McDonough, Greg McElroy, and Molly McGrath. Earlier I had omitted mentioning Molly McGrath on the sidelines. Also tomorrow afternoon, 2:30 down in Dallas at Jerry's World. Dave Pash, Dusty Voracek, and Taylor McGregor, the announced team. For Aggies and Razorbacks, we're going to talk a lot more Razorbacks at 5 o'clock, so we'll pass here. I think we've taken our shots this week at Auburn. Screaming Joe Tess, Jordan Rogers, and Katie George. She'll be on the sideline for Auburn hosting OU. Tomorrow afternoon, 3:15 on SEC Network, the very fine team of Tom Hart, Cole Kubelik, and Lissa Lang calling the action from Austin, Mississippi State, a heavy underdog, and with the injury at quarterback, it's really tough for Jeff Lebby in year one, but going against Arch Manning in his first SEC start.
Sure, and for Mississippi State, we knew that this year was going to be a little bit of a struggle, and with what Blake Shapen was giving them at the start of the season, it looked like maybe they could be a feisty team in a lot of these games, but he goes down for the season with an injury, and it's just going to be really tough. And so now you have to turn around and face the number one team in the country, Arch Manning. We'll get to see him at home in his first SEC start. That'll be one to keep an eye on.
Yeah, we'll get back into Auburn talk with Trey Shapp when he joins us at 5 from down in Dallas, with that being the team that if Auburn played 9 more times. Tomorrow night, the Super Bowl of college football, discussed a lot. Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, Holly Rowe. Who else would you expect calling that action in Tuscaloosa? I can't imagine what around town is like down there right now and into tonight and tomorrow morning, the long day. And have they announced a guest picker yet for game day?
They have. Would you care to guess who it is?
Please tell me, Miss Terry Saban.
100%.
It's got to have
Absolutely. Yeah, College Game Day put out a video of her at their house, and she had a little notepad in hand, and she said she was going to be the guest picker, and she said she had already started, and she thinks she's going to – that's what she said. She goes, I think I'm going to be able to beat Nick. So that will be a lot of fun tomorrow.
Can you say anything in a political realm without people getting mad? Just answer that question.
No.
All right, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it as nicely as I know how, and, of course, with equal time.
Sure.
In a few weeks, I think it would be very, very appropriate.
Uh-huh.
If College Game Day had invited and he had accepted Donald Trump, wouldn't that have been good TV?
It would have been. It would have been very entertaining television. Yes, I think that's accurate.
And in a few weeks in Austin, if College Game Day invited Vice President Harris for her to be the guest picker for Texas and Georgia, can't we at least agree that would be fun and good TV, or do we have to gnash it out over everything?
Unfortunately, I think we have to gnash it out over everything, but I think you're right. I think it would be entertaining television.
It would be. And just for a second, can we lay down, figuratively speaking, arms and enjoy some fun? But Miss Terry Saban, that'd be great. I'm glad they're doing that, and she'll probably have a grandchild on the stage, because he said a few weeks ago his picture's so bad he's gonna ask a grandchild for help.
That's right. So yeah, it'll be the competitiveness during picks tomorrow between those two will be fun to watch.
LSU tomorrow night at home at 6:45 under the lights at Tiger Stadium against South Alabama. Dave Neal, Aaron Murray, and Ashley Shaw-Amati, the announce crew, and LSU can quit whining about the heat.
That's right, yes. Finally back to a night game for LSU after being so mad about it last week that they want a law to be put in that they only have to play night games. So now they get South Alabama, South Alabama team that's been rolling over the last 2 weeks. They're the team that had the entire college football world talking a couple weeks ago when they beat Northwestern State 87-10. They got a win. I believe it was a Friday night game, maybe a Thursday night game last week against Appalachian State, a 48-14 win there. So, maybe points in store for this one between South Alabama and LSU. But I think LSU takes care of business pretty easily.
Last weekend of baseball, we hadn't had a lot of time to get to baseball. Right. We will next week in the playoffs. We're gonna make room to talk baseball during the month of October. How hard one for you? You ready?
Oh, okay. All right.
Do we have the jingle? No. It looks like Connor's going for the jingle. No. I wasn't calling for that. Will Aaron Judge get to 60 this weekend? 60 home runs.
Where is he at right now?
58.
58? Yeah, 3 games.
It's tough because how much will he play?
That's right. Well, that's a good point. I say yes. I say he gets there.
Did we ever find odds on it?
I could not find odds on any of my sports books. I did see
if he gets to 60
a story that had the odds set at plus 200 earlier this month for him to get to 60. So I don't know what they are now, but I checked a couple of sports books and couldn't find any bettable odds for myself to bet on. But sometimes those are state by state things.
Yankees and Pirates at Yankee Stadium this weekend. Rematch of the 1960 World Series.
How about that? That will be
a long time ago.
That's a very long time ago. But no,
what suffices as a long time ago to y'all? I'm serious. What is to both of y'all? What is a long time ago? There's no doubt 1960 is. That's a long time ago for me. I think anything before you were born, is a long time ago.
Yeah, I would say that's probably. I would say,
so I mean, 61 south for me.
Yeah, I mean, the 80s feels like forever ago as an idea. Yeah.
Are you trying to break my heart?
No, I'm not trying to break your heart.
The 80s are a long time ago to you?
Yeah.
The 80s are 10 minutes ago to me.
Honestly, as weird as this might sound, the 80s actually feels farther away to me than like the 60s do. But that's because I'm such a big Elvis fan, and so I listen to a lot of music from that time. But yeah, 80s feels like a long time ago.
I had some nights in the 80s that feel like a long time ago.
Yes, but
felt a little like the war years.
Yeah,
but yeah.
I would say before any time before you're born, I think to you feels like a long time ago. I would say
that's something, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it really is.
And Bruce was mentioning going to those games with his uncle. I've talked many times. My brother and I, we had an uncle on my dad's side. We were the only children on that side. He didn't have children. We were the only grandchildren.
Sure.
We were the only nephews, and he was the huge Memphis State Tiger football fan. Proud graduate of Memphis State University, And he was football first and had season tickets square on the 50 on the old press box, now the old press box side, on the west side. And the deal was every year, and I didn't really pick up on this deal till about 1970, is my brother got to go opening night to the Ole Miss Memphis game.
Sure.
And I got the rest of the year. Well, at 7, that sounded like a great deal.
Does sound like
well,
a great
my brother
deal.
would get Ole Miss
Sure.
and the Tigers, and we were talking about the other day, and I asked him, I said, were you there for Archie's first college start in 68? He said, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And he would have been about 10, 9 or 10 that year. So he remembered it well, and he said, in the year before, the first time Memphis ever beat Ole Miss in 67 was there 27-17, and he said the crowd went crazy.
Oh, I believe it. Wow.
And I remember the reaction to beating Tennessee.
Sure,
And
absolutely.
I bet it did. And, and many have said that.
That's great. Wow. So, I mean, I guess you got more games, but you know,
Well, I did.
He got
and
to
I thought I
see
got a good
the
deal. I
big
got
one.
I got the totality of the game, but I got a whole lot of West Texas and North Texas and Wichita State. But I thought I was getting the best. You know, I get to go 4 or 5 or 6 times with John, and he only got to go 1, and
That's hilarious.
That's all that mattered to me. I got to go more than he did.
Absolutely. But now, as you look back on it, maybe that deal was a little closer than I thought it was at the time. That's funny. Well, let's go ahead and grab another break, and when we come back, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings and Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings and Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every dollar you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings and Grill.
Hey folks, grab old Penelope and saddle up for the 35th annual Western Trading Days here at Sunrise Buick GMC at Wolf Chase. There's a new sheriff in town and we're slashing prices on over 600 new Buicks and GMC models. You'll get big rebates, huge discounts, and a low APR financing. Get top dollar for your old wagon when you trade in for a new buggy. And financing for just about everyone. Divorce, repo, slow pay, it's all okay at Sunrise. The #1 volume Buick GMC dealership in Memphis, 4 years running. Call, click, or come on into the good-looking store in Bartlett. We make it fun to buy a car.
Approved credit based on 20 through 23 new vehicle sales data.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
Hungry for that delicious smash burger flavor? Dyer's Cafe is the original smash burger since 1912 and still smashing burgers in Collier's historic town square. Come out for their lunch specials Monday through Friday 11 to 2. Ask about their world-famous split dog and authentic Chicago or New York dog. Try the leaner side of Dyer's with a grilled chicken sandwich or freshly made salad. Also serving lakes, Delta-raised catfish, Pasquale's tamales, and a customer favorite hand-breaded onion rings. Dyer's, serving world-famous burgers, dogs, and shakes in Collier's historic town square.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Now, back to Sportstime on Sports 56
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
Well, Brett, I have a couple of Major League Baseball big numbers to get to, and so I will start with a big number from the Marlins-Twins game last night. An interesting game that, unfortunately,
eliminated
the Twins in a must-win game for them. So this big number is the number 20. The Marlins are the first team in MLB history to strike out 20 or more times, leave 15 or more runners on base, blow a 4 or more run lead, commit multiple errors, and fail to hit a home run in a game, and still end up winning against the Twins 8-6 last night in extra innings, a game that the Twins had to have, and the Marlins, making it impossible for them in those extra innings, and got some luck. I mean, some of that stuff that was happening in extra innings, really the luck fell on the side of the Marlins. My other big number, though, it's also a baseball big number. It is the number 20. Jared Jones, he goes tonight. Paul Skeens goes tomorrow for the Pirates. They are both on pace right now with one game remaining for both of them. They're on pace to be the first pair for an MLB team in MLB history to have two rookies average at least a strikeout per inning in the same season. Both those guys really rely on those strikeouts, and so the Pirates could be the first team in MLB history to have two rookies average at least a strikeout per inning in the same season. Both those guys have been really, really good this year.
I hope the Pirates have something to build on. Detroit and Kansas City both are going to make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. I want to know somebody that had both of them as a AL representative in the postseason and get them to pick out the Powerball number.
Oh man, please! And I have a big number in my back pocket for maybe Monday when everything's set in stone for the Detroit Tigers that I got about a week and a half ago that I've been wanting to save.
And there's a chance that those games won't be necessary to play Monday, and there's a chance that only one of them. I think they would pull the plug on game 2 if that settled everything, and should.
Yeah, I think so
I would defend baseball on that. I'll criticize baseball if they make them go through the routine of it not mattering. My big number is 3, trying to get to this number. Right now, they are at 2, so want to get to this number. I think they will. I think that family will tomorrow night. Tomorrow night's Arch Manning's first SEC start.
Yeah.
It's against Mississippi State. They're heavy favorites. They're going to get to 3 wins for all 4 of them in SEC starts. Archie in 1968, in his first SEC start, win over Kentucky. 1994, Peyton in his first SEC start, win at home at Neyland against Arkansas. And Eli in 2001 had to take the loss on the road very narrowly on the Plains at Auburn. Wow. So they're 2-1 right now in SEC starts, and I think Arch gets to 3 tomorrow night.
Yeah, it looks like they'll get to 3-1. I mean, that's just incredible. I mean, everything that you can bring up about this family and just at this point from grandfather to now uncles to now Arch, it is incredible what this family does at the quarterback position.
But I think they and the Texas brass would say we need to get Quinn Ewer as well.
Yes. I think the ultimate goal for Texas
be a big ask.
Yeah, I mean, especially with Texas being the number 1 team in the country right now, that goal is out there to win a national championship for Texas. And I think if you're going to do that, you want Quinn Ewers healthy and the starting quarterback for Texas. That doesn't mean Arch's time isn't coming. I just don't think it's right now.
That's right. I think Arch Manning, with last year's Texas defense, may have been able to ride that one a long way with his abilities this year, but maybe not with that defense they have right now for this year. And remember all those injuries the Texas backfield took in August. That's no shocker, just lined up wingtip to wingtip running backs just produced out of that state.
Oh yeah, I mean they know how to run the ball down there, and you're right. I mean you go back and think of a couple guys with season-ending injuries before the year started at Texas, and so injuries have definitely been a concern for them this year.
But it's going to be a fun day tomorrow and fun weekend. The baseball races will settle out, and we will have most everything. I think most everything set Monday. We could need those games. I'm looking forward to next week, and I can tell everybody right now who I'm going to be for. American League, I start with Cleveland, then I'm going to go to Baltimore, and then probably anybody else that either has been a long time or first time to be in. National League, give me NLCS right now of Padres and Brewers, because neither have ever won it.
Yeah, I think right now in the American League, I'm probably going for Detroit, but that's just because the kind of underdog story
They
there.
qualified a long time, 84.
Sure. And definitely the Guardians would be right after that. Over in the NL.
48 for them. 1940.
Oh, man, that's
a long time ago for anybody.
That's crazy. Over in the NL, though, it gets a little tricky. I don't know. Maybe the Phillies. I don't know. NL's a little more different. I don't know who I'm rooting for in
1948, last time Cleveland won it, had a player manager, Lou Boudreau. They hadn't won it since 24 before that, and that was with a player manager.
Wow.
With Tris Speaker, and I think in 48 they defeated the Boston Braves, a team that doesn't even exist.
Right. Yeah. So that is a long time. When you asked in the last segment, what's a long time? That's no matter how old you are, that's a really, really long time. But no, it is going to be fun to.
But however it falls out,
sure.
I got a good Philly friend texting me right now. If it's however it shakes out, I'll like it.
Absolutely,
love October baseball.
100%, and it's going to be fun. To
My
keep an
favorite
eye
sports
this weekend.
too.
On what's going on with these races, as it looks like right now, the only two things that are solidified is the Astros where they're at,
the 2 threes,
and Milwaukee where they're at, both at the 3 positions. So definitely, got to keep an eye on where everything will fall in terms of seeding, and we'll definitely get probably a better idea later tonight, and then into tomorrow, and then certainly the final day on Sunday. We'll get pretty much everything set except Braves and Mets, and I guess we'll figure that out on Monday.
Cardinals in San Francisco ending the season on the West Coast where they started on the West Coast against the Dodgers. A Coors Field game broke out yesterday after I thought they were going to get the win there.
That's right.
They didn't.
No, they didn't. And so I think, a lot of Cardinal fans just counting down the days for the end of the season, and I was seeing something. I didn't get to read it in full, but already some changes coming to the developmental team for the Cardinals, and I think it's going to be a lot of moving pieces this offseason in St. Louis. But let's go ahead and wrap up our second hour and get to another break. And when we come back, we're going to talk some Arkansas Razorbacks with Trey Schapp from 103.7 The Buzz in Little Rock.
Traffic brought to you by 901 Eats to Go, 3135 Kirby Whitten Road in Bartlett. Pick up, DoorDash, Uber Eats, or online at 901eats.com. Eats with the Z. Good food fast.
Sometimes you just want the naked facts, like the fun that comes from a quick and nimble 2024 Honda CB500F. This naked-style streetlight sports a narrow 471cc twin, along with a sleek TFT display, dual-disc front brakes, and standard ABS, all at an affordable price. Find fun in all the right places in the 2024 Honda CB500F. Available at DeSoto Honda, 5656 Women Road in Olive Branch.
I
I think a lot about golf, and when I think golf, I think Miramichi. Did you know Miramichi Golf Course offers membership? It's a great way to play more golf for less out of pocket. Their memberships run for $300 a month plus tax, and that includes unlimited rounds and range balls, no extra card fees, priority tee time booking, and discounts in the pro shop. Oh, by the way, there's no initiation fee. Miramichi green fees, they'll allow you to choose the right rate at the right time on the right day for your needs. If morning tee times are more important, you can book up to 14 days ahead of time to reserve your spot. If rate is more important to you, there are discounted evening rates available that you can choose from. You'll find the lowest rates on Tuesday through Thursday afternoons. Sometimes you just need to escape the hustle and bustle of life. Miramichi Golf Course provides just the right place to solve that need. The name Miramichi means place of happy retreat. When you need a quiet, peaceful round of golf, please make your way to Miramichi.
We're in the break room at a traditional jewelry store here. Hey, Mark, I know it's our job here to try and sell every piece of jewelry, but don't sell this ring. I'm going to try to use my employee discount to buy it for my wife.
Okay, but you know you can get a better deal at Genesis Diamonds.
Genesis Diamonds? Are you crazy? Better not let the boss hear it.
All I'm saying is I got a pair of diamond set earrings there for my wife and paid a lot less than what we charge here, even after my employee discount.
Wow. You never know who you'll see shopping at Genesis Diamonds. With no middleman pricing on the best selection of diamond rings, earrings, pendants, bands, and bracelets, it's a no-brainer. I admire your dedication to our jewelry store and not going to Genesis. I know the boss really appreciates your loyalty.
It's just the right thing to do, man.
And it's nice your wife won't mind getting a smaller diamond.
On second thought, can you cover me while I take a break?
Genesis Diamonds, the smart alternative to old-fashioned jewelry shopping. With more selection, lower prices, higher quality, stronger warranties, and zero pressure. At Poplar and Perkins Extended.
Wash your house, wash your office building? Impossible! Not call Wilson's Pro Wash. Your house, fence, driveway, warehouse, store, hotel, even cars and trucks can all be squeaky clean and beautiful after pressure washing by Wilson's Pro Wash. Wilson's specializes in cleaning all hard surfaces, concrete, stone, brick, and mortar, even wood and vinyl siding. Then Wilson's can seal their surfaces so they stay looking brand new. Call Wilson's Pro Wash, 915246799, or online at wilsonsprowash.com. If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Binswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Binswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Binswanger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood, across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit binswangerglass.com. Binswanger Glass. Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawa Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawa is a PCUSA church located in town Memphis.
I'm with John Burgos from the world-famous Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948.
Brett, we have catered parties all over this country and all over the world, from Singapore, Australia to Central Park in New York. But many people don't realize how much we do locally. For holiday events, office parties, tailgating, birthday parties, you can't do better than the Rendezvous. For example, you can get a cheese and sausage tray for 15 to 300 people for $3.75 per person. You can even build your own nacho bar for $10.50 per person. All you need is a minimum of 15 people. In many cases, we can arrange delivery and full-service catering. We've even made it easy to get to-go items. You can just park at our front door in the alley, put on your flashes, and we'll get you going ASAP. For all your catering items and prices, go to hogsfly.com, click on menu, and drop down to catering.
Thank you, John. The Rendezvous, Mr. Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948 and celebrating its 75th year.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Give yourself plenty of extra travel time out here as this rain continues to move through our area. Lots of standing water on main and secondary arteries. It's trying to get a little bit busy again through the Midtown area on 240 southbound. Here coming past South Parkway. From time to time, it runs a little bit slow up through that construction zone on 55 northbound between McLemore and South Parkway. I saw it get a little bit busy again over there on 40 east, passing Sycamore View Road as that traffic starts to load up already, trying to get out towards Fayette County. Hey, don't miss the Paw Prints Party tomorrow at the Humane Society of Memphis, Shelby County. Take a tour, meet some of the animals. For more information on this event, log on to memphishumane.org. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. And once again, are Brett Norsworthy and Brian Davis.
Say you stand by your man.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios as we start our third and final hour. And joining us to talk some Razorbacks, Trey Schapp from 103.7 The Buzz in Little Rock joins us now to talk some Arkansas Razorbacks. Obviously, they have their big game tomorrow against Texas A&M down in Jerry's World. Trey, thanks so much for joining us. A lot to get to. I want to start before we kind of get into this week's game against A&M. Brett and I, we like to pull out the grade books about a month or so into the season, so we're almost to that point. So I'll ask you, when it comes to the Arkansas Razorbacks, what kind of grade would you give Sam Pittman's team through their first couple of games?
That's a good question. First of all, great to be on with you guys. Thanks for the offer. I would give Arkansas a B minus. I think they've won, obviously, on the road to start SEC play at Auburn. Tomorrow they're going to play in their fifth straight stadium on the season, so opening in Little Rock and then at Stillwater against Oklahoma State, home against UAB, and then obviously at Auburn and then here in AT&T Stadium tomorrow. I would say B minus, and the reason it's not any higher is because we've seen flashes to where, hey, this looks like this offense is really going to click like they did early on in the Oklahoma State game. Should have probably won that game against Oklahoma State, and then you even could have got to a B plus to an A, I think, but because you would have been undefeated.
Yeah, Trey, I'm going to revise Bryant's question. Let's say a win tomorrow by one. I don't care if it's pretty or not. What would be it tomorrow at 6 o'clock, at 6:30 in a happy, victorious Razorback locker room to be 4-1 after 5?
And stats, that's a good point. I think then you go to a B plus. And the only reason I say still a B plus.
Man, I'm glad I didn't have you as a teacher.
Well, I mean, look at the way they played in the second half against Oklahoma State. Look at the way they played against UAB. It was kind of like a wake-up call against UAB. I don't know what it is about them not playing well at home under Sam Pittman, but they just have not been able to do that at times. And you look at the UAB game, that's a game they should have come out and just put them away early, have some more people play like they did against UAPB in the opener, to where they were able to play multiple people. They only played 33 against Oklahoma State, and I think they didn't even get into 40 against UAB in Fayetteville. Yeah. No, taking out the specialists, but basically, the core players, 33 in the loss at Oklahoma State. And so I think, if we could see a little bit more, then I think so. But last week, good defensive effort against Auburn. Obviously, Auburn's struggling. They don't know where they are right now. And I don't even think Hugh Freeze knows where they are right now with some of the comments that he's made about 9 out of 9 times they would beat Arkansas the rest of the way. No, you slow your roll a little bit. You just got beat by Arkansas, and then you're going to come in and say that. I mean, if your quarterback that you trot out there is going to throw 5 more picks in a game, well, then, you're going to lose that game as well, probably.
That's part of it.
But yeah, it's part of the game. Stats, you're right. You got to play a full 60 minutes, and guess what? You didn't, and so you lost. Take it and move on and get ready for OU tomorrow, and if you don't, they're going to come in and beat you too.
Trey, what stunned me about those comments, and you are as good of an amateur local golfer as I know. What's your handicap? You got a plus handicap, don't you?
Well, yeah, it's around there.
Okay. I mean, it's around 0 at worst. And Coach Freeze loves playing golf, and I think you've played some golf with Coach Freeze and Coach Malzahn. What you learn from golf is when you lose, you take off that hat and you shake hands and you walk away and say nothing else. Why would he try to explain that? I didn't get it. We've crushed him like everybody. All of Western civilization has crushed him. It's a guy that's 4-4 all time against the Razorbacks. It's not like he's had any domination. Do you think every year was going to be like last year and his year at Liberty?
Stats, I don't know. And here's the thing, and you bring in the golf analogy. Look, the President's Cup is going on right now. If you go out there and you make 4 birdies in your match and the opponent team makes 5 or 6, the only thing you can do, you could have shot maybe a 68 or a 67. The only thing you can do is take off your hat and shake his hand.
That's it.
And say, hey, he got me. He was a better team today. Not, let's play 9 more times, and I bet I beat you all 9 of those times. No, it doesn't work that way. I mean, it's just like in life, things aren't fair. Things don't always go your way. A 60-minute football game, it doesn't always go your way. Were there some bad calls in the game? Sure there were. Did they go against Auburn? Sure they did. There were some that went against Arkansas. The Isaiah Satania pass into the end zone from Taylor Green from 35 all the way down to the 1, there was pass interference on the call. There was never a flag thrown. The Arkansas punter still had his leg in the air when the Auburn player ran into him. Never a flag dropped on the play. So it didn't always go Auburn's way, but it was good to finally see Arkansas get some breaks inside of Jordan-Hare Stadium, which they didn't get 4 years ago down there.
They sure didn't in 2021 and one in 2022 rather.
Yeah.
2020, that's right. And then one there 2 years ago. Trey Shapp talking all things Razorbacks. Boy, you're a tough grader. Razorbacks in a happy locker room tomorrow night, and Jukebox is playing next Wednesday when we do great. I promise you I'm going to have the Razorbacks with an A to B. 4-1, nobody had Arkansas 4-1, Trey.
No, nobody did. And you might be able to convince me that it might be an A-. I want to see it tomorrow, though, on the field. I want to see you come out and dominate Texas A&M. Last year against Texas A&M, 34-22 loss. 2 years ago, 23-21 loss here in Arlington. The last time they won was 2021, 20-10. That's the year that Arkansas made it down to Tampa and the Outback Bowl. They won all 4 trophies that year, as Sam Pittman likes to say. They beat Missouri, they beat LSU, they beat A&M, and then they beat Penn State in the bowl game. So they had 4 trophies to take home to Fayetteville. Look, if they win tomorrow, guys, they get to take that Southwest Classic trophy back to Fayetteville. It's the last time they're going to play in AT&T Stadium for the foreseeable future. This game might not come back, and it might not be, marqueed and marketed as the Southwest Classic anymore after tomorrow.
Yes. Did David Basil start that trophy as well?
No,
for Southwest. Southwest
no,
Classic.
but it would have been a lot heavier and much bigger if Basil would have it.
Man, somebody early on told Baz, big old gaudy trophy when you have a trophy game.
No doubt,
absolutely,
and one that it can't be carried by one person off the field.
Yes, multiple players. Trey Shapp joins us from 103.7 The Buzz in Little Rock. We kind of talked a little bit about this offense, but the 2 biggest additions, quarterback Taylor Green and then offense coordinator Bobby Petrino, what have you thought of adding those 2 guys and what they've done for this offense?
Well, I think anybody that has followed Razorback football for the past several years, and back when Bobby was there as head coach, they knew what they were getting with Bobby Petrino. Mm-hmm. What we didn't know what we were getting was Taylor Green at quarterback. Now, Bobby went out and handpicked him, and right now 65 completions on 121 attempts heading into tomorrow's game, 957 yards, 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Got to clean up the interceptions. I get that. But you also throw in a Jaquindon Jackson, the transfer from Utah, 69 carries, 472 rushing yards, averaging 6.8 yards per carry, and 8 touchdowns. And then right behind him, you have Taylor Green. He's ran it 59 times, 325 yards, averaging 5.5 yards per carry, and has rushed for 4 touchdowns. If they can get that kind of production tomorrow, and if Taylor Green can be a little more on completion-wise, get his percentage up into the mid-70s, I think Arkansas can beat Texas A&M by throwing it and running it because stats, guys, you all know, if you can throw the football it opens up the run. Sometimes you have to use the run to open up the pass, but I think with Arkansas, if they can throw it consistently, that's going to open up the run. And Taylon Green has been able to extend plays. He did it against Auburn, and I think he'll be able to do it tomorrow against Texas A&M.
You mentioned it. We all were alerted to it in the preseason, talked about it. I think it was my big number of the day at SEC Media Days, Bryant. Five games, 5 different stadiums. Tomorrow it ends it next week in Fayetteville at Razorback Stadium against the Big Orange, against the Tennessee Vols. How real a prospect of a Razorback win tomorrow is it for Arkansas to host game day next weekend?
And looking at the rest of the schedule stats, I would say 100%. I know game day was just in Norman last Saturday for the Tennessee-Oklahoma game, and that was, Josh Heupel going back to OU where he led them to their last national championship. But I think when you look at Arkansas and you look at the history, they don't always play Tennessee. Before, when they came into the league, they did. South Carolina, Tennessee, permanent opponent. But since they went to expanded the league several years ago with A&M and Missouri coming in, then that knocked Tennessee out as a permanent. It stayed South Carolina and Missouri for the Razorbacks. But I think it is a legitimate chance. I would put it at 95% chance that if Arkansas wins, that you're going to have Arkansas, Tennessee on ABC. You're going to get Fowler and Herbstreit, Holly Rowe on the game. Even Ben Herbstreit will be in the booth. And then you're going to have College Game Day in Fayetteville, and Fayetteville's going to go nuts. The last time College Game Day was there in Fayetteville, Tennessee was the opponent. Arkansas won the football game.
2006, Houston Nutt and the Razorbacks put it on the Vols that night. First things first, this weekend, used to not that long ago, but always has kind of been Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington, Metroplex, magical for Razorback fans. Just go down there and have a blast, whatever sport it was or is. What kind of Razorback crowd do you think will be there for the game in Arlington tomorrow afternoon?
I think it'll be a good crowd because of the fact that they just beat Auburn and they played so well against Oklahoma State. You look at this, it's going to be the 13th time that they've played inside AT&T Stadium in Jerry World, Arkansas and Texas A&M when this series was born before A&M came into the league. Razorbacks have only won 4 times in this series. Bobby Petrino, as a coach, head coach or assistant coach, no matter what team he's on, he's never lost a game inside that stadium. He won 3 games as the head coach of the Razorbacks in the stadium against the Aggies, beat Kansas State in the bowl game in 2012, 29-16, and then last year he won as offensive coordinator, although he wasn't calling the plays for Jimbo Fisher and Texas A&M when they beat Arkansas last year. So Bobby Petrino, 5-0 inside of AT&T Stadium. I think it's going to be a great crowd because it's the last time for it. Arkansas 1-11 in their last 12 in this series against the Aggies. That one time was a couple of years ago that I told you about earlier, 2001, when they were able to make it all the way to the bowl game down in Tampa, the Outback Bowl. September 25th, 2021, last time Arkansas beat Texas A&M. The Razorbacks were 16th ranked that time. A&M was 7th, and the Hogs were able to upset the Aggies.
When you look at this Texas A&M team come in, they're also 3-1, but their last game against Bowling Green, only a 6-point win for them. They've had to play the backup quarterback, Marcel Reed, because of the injury to Connor Wegman. It sounds like he's going to be a game-time decision, Wegman that is, for tomorrow's game. How good is this Texas A&M team?
Well, I think it's still yet to be determined, but I'll tell you, Bowling Green looks like a pretty good football team, too. To go into College Station and beat Texas A&M the way they did, and we all thought, well, Notre Dame went in there and beat them first game of the season, but then Notre Dame went home and kind of, didn't finish their job against Northern Illinois. So I think maybe the jury is still out on this Texas A&M team. This could be a game where they get tested. And can they beat the Arkansas Razorbacks? Or can they keep Arkansas's defensive front off of whoever the quarterback is? Is it Reed or is it Wegman? I've heard that Wegman is probably not going to be able to play in this game tomorrow for the Aggies. So can they run the football against Arkansas? Arkansas was able to shut down the run against Oklahoma State and Ollie Gordon, the Heisman favorite, if you would have, at the beginning of the season, or at least the Doak Walker Award favorite at the beginning of the season, coming off of winning it last year. I just think that Arkansas's defense, if they can get their crowd involved into it, I think it could pose some problems for Texas A&M. But Texas A&M, they've had Arkansas's number of late, and Arkansas has not done well in close football games of late either. They have not won a one-score game, and I can't remember how long.
You mentioned Bobby Petrino last year at A&M. Jimbo Fisher out. He made the move as well. Mike Elko in. How's it gotten along with Sam Pittman and Bobby Petrino? 3-1, I would imagine things are going pretty merrily.
And Stats, I think that's a good question. And everything that we've seen from the outside looking in, not being able to be in the meetings, obviously, is that everything's going great. Sam Pittman lets Bobby Petrino run the offense. I think that is where Bobby Petrino is best at. He's got his players. He's able to work with them. He doesn't have to worry about this NIL stuff, who's going to be here, who's not going to be here. Oh, I got to go recruit this guy to make sure he's okay. Oh, I've got this guy coming in my office because his girlfriend might be breaking up with him, stuff like that. He doesn't have to worry about that. He can focus on calling offensive plays and trying to devise a scheme to go at the defense of the opponent. And I'll say this, being down there at Texas A&M last year, those holdovers on the defensive side of the football, don't think Bobby Petrino doesn't know what their abilities are, because he saw it 12, 13 times last year. And he's a guy that I think when you give him time, he's going to be able to come up with a plan that will attack an opponent.
Is the most coveted seat for any Razorback fan, especially with them playing, with the Cowboys playing last night, and Bryant's a big Cowboy fan, just like you and your wife are, Trey. With the Cowboys playing, so is the most coveted seat and access for any Razorback fan is to get that invitation to be in Jerry Jones's sweet box area tomorrow?
Right there above section, I believe it's 113, maybe. I think that's the section number that it is. No, I think
they say at Cowboys games he's got a secret hideaway where he'll sneak off too that nobody's allowed around him, but he's got the kind of the public suite as well.
Well,
too.
yeah. So he'll stay in his suite for this game tomorrow, but then he's got one that's a level above him. That's a private elevator, only goes up and down from the ground floor, which can get him to the locker room, up to that suite area. And that's what they call kind of like the war room, if you will, on draft day. It's him, it's Steven, it's his son. His two sons are up there, and then the grandkids sometimes are up there. I know John Stevens involved in it as well now. But yeah, he gets up there during Cowboys games, and he just stays. And we sit on the same side, so we don't really get to see him in that seat. But when they do show it on TV, when I go back and watch, yep, I know exactly where that is. It's right above the clock on the side of the field, so you know where he's sitting. But it is a coveted seat. If you get invited to the Jerry Jones suite on game day for Razorbacks and Aggies, you don't pass that up.
No, not at all. Speaking of Sam Pittman, I think, going into the season, he was a name thrown out there. A lot of people wondering how hot was that seat, but a good start for him right now with 3-1. What does the rest of the season look like for Sam Pittman to keep his job at Arkansas?
I think 6 wins. I think if you win tomorrow, you're definitely on your way, because that would get you at 4-1. You still have La Tech
don't move the
coming
goalpost on him now.
Exactly.
No, you can't. I mean, you've got a La Tech team coming up at the end of the season, right before you head to Missouri to play them. You've got Mississippi State, and they look like they're in disarray, and they're about to just be throttled by Texas and Georgia, I think, in back-to-back weeks before they have an open date. I think if Arkansas could pick off one of the 4 toughest opponents at home, which is coming up, which we talked about stats, this 5th game in a row at an away stadium or a different stadium, and they're going to play 4 games out of 5 at home, and you've got Tennessee at home, LSU at home, Ole Miss at home, Texas at home. That's a pretty good slate right there of games that you're going to want to go see if you're a Razorback fan.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a lot of fun watching Arkansas already, and we'll see what they can do tomorrow against Texas.
Prediction.
Oh, yeah,
we need to score.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 28-21 Arkansas.
Okay.
Ooh, that's right. In my neighborhood, we're getting ready to do our picks. I have the Razorbacks winning, but it's right in the neighborhood of mine. Trey, I know you got an early day tomorrow, but not too bad with the pregame show. Have a great time. Tell everybody at the Buzz I said hello. Thank you, Trey.
Thanks, Trey.
I'll do it, Stats. You guys be good. Thanks a bunch.
Thanks, Trey.
You got it. Thank you.
Trey Schapp joining us from 103.7 The Buzz in Little Rock. And Brett,
we'll make our picks.
We're going to make our picks, and I kind of like Arkansas right now, but that's going to be a really fun one tomorrow afternoon.
They're overdue one in that building. It really has been a house of horrors for them of all places, at that great building that Jerry Jones built, old number 61, and we'll see if Arkansas can get off that schneid, and then both sides just so glad to be going to campus.
Oh, absolutely. And, this is obviously kind of an end of an era playing at AT&T Stadium. But, we said it the other day. I think, being able to play this game and have this rivalry on home campuses will only make it better. There's a lot of times there are people that either don't want to travel or can't travel, and a lot of times that's students. And so when you look at, these great student sections that both of these schools have, when you play this game on campuses, it's going to give it just a little more juice every single year, whether you're at Texas A&M or you're at Arkansas.
Razorbacks win this one and then have game day. A lot of the rest of their schedule starts looking a lot different than it did at media days and even in August and even a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I asked Trey about what does it look like for Sam Pittman, because nobody expected this type of start for Arkansas. Nobody even thought 6 wins was maybe even in the equation when talking about this team before the season started. But now the way they've played, they look really good. 3-1 right now, and you look at it, coulda, shoulda, woulda. Could be 4-0. I mean, you go back to that Oklahoma State game that they just let get away from them late.
It was more winnable than Auburn was losable.
Exactly, 100%. I mean, they had that game, and so you're talking about a 3-1 team that could be 4-0. They've played really, really well. Now, like Trey said, early on when we were talking about them, there have been some mistakes, there have been some issues. There are definitely things that you want them to clean up on, but right now, just watching this team, I think much, much, much better than certainly they were last year, and certainly better than a lot of people thought they would be at SEC Media Days back when, we wanted to, what do you think, Brett, sound all smart and try to make predictions at SEC Media Days, and then,
What do they know down there?
Exactly. Those always come true for sure. But like Brett mentioned, we're about to make our picks in our next segment. A lot of picks for a lot of games, but before we do that, let me remind you about our great sponsor, Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Jaguar Bluff City has been the premier Jaguar dealership for the greatest Memphis area since 1984. Their talented team is ready to help you find your perfect vehicle at unbeatable rates. Swing by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City today and check out the new 2025 models like the 2025 Range Rover Sport, the 2025 Range Rover Velar, or the 2025 Defender. Test drive the 2025 Range Rover Sport, where luxury meets performance. It's a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility, with options ranging from 360 horsepower up to 635 horsepower. And it's also available as a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle with $7,500 federal tax credit when leased with approved credit. Also, take a look at the 2025 Range Rover Velar, powered by mild hybrid technology and enhanced with the latest well-being features and fully connected entertainment. The 2025 Range Rover Velar is the ultimate luxury compact crossover. Purchase yours today and get special 4.4% for 72 months financing available with approved credit. Also, don't forget about the 2025 Defender, available in multiple models to fit your needs. The Defender is built for the modern explorer, and Jaguar Bluff City is offering special interest rates for 60 and 72 months on various models. So give them a call at 877-259-6169. That's 877-259-6169, or go online to jaguarbluffcity.com to find your next perfect vehicle. Well, let's go ahead and get to another break, and when we come back, it will be time to make some picks for the First National Bank and Trust Friday Football Forecast.
WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Memphis, it's official. Crab King's Seafood is where it's at. For the most flavored seafood and the biggest plates, run to a Crab King's near you. Visit the Bartlett Cordova location at 7140 Stage Road. The price, the portions, the service is why Crab King's is number one. So don't be disappointed in seafood. Make the right choice the first time and every time. Make it Crab King's. Crab King's have only locally grown catfish. Come and devour tasty snow crabs, king crab, shrimp, salmon, catfish, calamari, and so much more. Enjoy Memphis's best tasting pasta with your choice of toppings. Visit the Bartlett Cordova location at 7140 Stage Road. Crab King's is open Wednesday through Sunday. Enjoy 50% off lunch portions and dollar fountain drinks. The number one name in Cajun seafood is Crab King's Seafood, a Memphis favorite. Crab King's, 7140 Stage Road. King's with the Z.
Family Leisure is having the world's biggest spa set. It's happening right now. You can save thousands on in-stock hot tubs that are ready to be delivered. Family Leisure has spas that start at just $28.99. You know those cold plunges? You can get one for yourself starting at $39.99. Or how about swim spas? They start at $17,499. Plus, Family Leisure has set up special financing just for this event. Have you been sitting on the fence about an above-ground pool? Get off that fence and get to Family Leisure to take advantage of huge discounts on all their in-stock above-ground pools. And if you need some patio furniture, it's all priced to move out now. It's not too late to have some summer fun, courtesy of Family Leisure. But you better hurry up. The world's biggest spa set might go on forever. Family Leisure. With and run at I-40. Family and fun come together.
Jason's Deli. When you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises. Just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it. Because you're not just taking the bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets, vegan and gluten-free options available, convenience, and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com. So whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby. At Jason's Deli, locations at Ridgeway in the Parkplace Center, Popper Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and Goodman Road in Highland Branch. Jason's Deli, it's wholesome food and no surprises.
East Memphis Ace Hardware is more than just a hardware store. It's really a customer service store. With 20 employees along with complete inventory of items, they deliver. Finding what you need is easy. Choosing from a complete selection of Big Green Egg as well as Traeger and Weber grills. And the Garden Center has everything for your yard. You can get glass cover, repair screens, get new keys to a complete fun programming. Tools, nuts, bolts, screws. You need it. East Memphis Ace Hardware has them. And they're just down the street at the corner of Wilson White Station.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Brian
Friday football forecast from First National Bank and Trust, a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas. Real estate isn't something you purchase or develop or desire. It's something you appreciate, respect, and know. With real estate, there's no gray area. You either know it or you don't. First National Bank and Trust, a proud division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas. They've known it since their beginning in 1886. Clients depend on First National Bank because they know real estate. Brooks Winchester, Bill Samish, and many more can assist you in your acquisition of that hunting land, farmland, a construction project. Let First National Bank and Trust make your dreams a reality. 775 Ridge Lake Boulevard, Suite 140 in Memphis, 901-498-5763, or the office in Collierville, or online at fnbtmemphis.com. For commercial real estate, residential construction, or recreational and agriculture financing, let First National Bank and Trust help you. They're a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, where I have had an account, been a friend, and been a customer my entire life.
Into the weekend we go with Friday football forecast from First National Bank and Trust, where in Eastern Arkansas, it is customer confidence is the cornerstone and the same now in West Tennessee. Y'all ready?
Let's do it.
It didn't sound real enthusiastic.
Let's do it.
Let's go. Here we go.
I'm
First
just hoping
game.
for a better week than I had last week in the NFL.
Aren't we all? We all look forward to these good weekends. That's the forecast we want. We want this rain to kick on out where we have the good forecast everywhere. Everybody's footballing. Tomorrow morning, bright and early, 11 o'clock on ABC. Ole Miss, a 17.5-point favorite over Big Blue Nation, the Kentucky Wildcats. Ole Miss 3 straight in this series. The last Oxford loss for Ole Miss to Big Blue was in 1978. Ole Miss leads all-time 30 wins, 14 losses, and a tie. Ole Miss 24-2 at home since 2021. That's 10 in a row. Dart, one of 4 FBS quarterbacks with 9,000 passing and 1,000 rushing. Mark Stoops, the longest tenured SEC coach and 6th longest in the country. 17.5-point favorite, Ole Miss. Connor, you pick first.
This is the first time I had to think about an Ole Miss game this year. I'm going with Ole Miss.
Okay.
Connor's been riding the Rebels all year, and it's the first real competition all year for Ole Miss. Let's be candid. Darian takes Ole Miss as well. I'm going to take the Rebs, and I think it's in resounding fashion. I'm taking Ole Miss to win 42-10. So all we need for a big group lock for Ole Miss to head into the weekend. Bryant Dacus, we know how much you love Ole Miss. Hum a few bars of the fight song and make it a group lock.
No, thank you. I'll pass on that. But I'm like Connor. I was back and forth on this game because Ole Miss has looked really, really good to start the season, but that has been against no-name opponents. Those are games that they were supposed to win in resounding fashion. So I think Ole Miss wins here, and I think they win convincingly, but I'm going to take Kentucky to just sneak in and cover that spread, a backdoor cover maybe late in the game. They've already faced a couple of SEC opponents. Kentucky has, so they can make it a little more challenging for Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss still wins by double digits, but I'll take Kentucky plus the 17.5.
And it's no shot at Ole Miss. They've looked good in getting to 4-0. It's just not been against anybody. We'll see tomorrow, 2:30 on ESPN down at Jerry's World in Arlington. The Texas Aggies, 4.5-point favorite over the Razorbacks. Arkansas leads all time 42-35-3, but most of that was racked up in the old Southwest Conference. Last night at AT&T Stadium, A&M leads 9-4 when they play the Razorbacks at the home of the Cowboys and the home of the probably most famous Arkansas alum in the world, Jerry Jones. 5th game, 5th stadium for the Razorbacks. We knew it in the preseason. A&M's won 11 out of 12 in this series wherever it's been played. A&M rushed for over 200 yards in the last 3 games. I'm going to take the Razorbacks to get out of Jerry's World and never look back. Only go back there for Cotton Bowls. The Razorbacks win 27-26, so give me the 4.5. Darian takes the Razorbacks. Bryant.
I'm also going to take the Razorbacks in this one. I've really liked the offense this year. Now, it kind of comes and goes throughout games, but if they can get it going early, put some points on the board, come up with a couple of stops, I definitely think they can keep this within a field goal, maybe even win this game. So I'll take Arkansas plus that 4.5.
We're 4-3 on the year in college football and group lock, so we need a few bars from the fight song and a Connor Dacus pick on the Razorbacks to make it a group lock. Connor, do it for us.
Sadly, I have A&M.
Oh,
A&M for Connor. So 0-2. We've been close. We're getting closer. 6:30 on ESPNU tomorrow night. The Tigers at the Fairgrounds minus 24.5 over Middle Tennessee. We know what happened last week, but the Tigers are 28-1 in their last 29 non-conference. Middle leads all time in this series, but a lot of that was a long, long time ago. Memphis leads in Memphis 7-6-1. Chandler Martin ranks 11th in the nation for tackles for losses. Ryan Silverfield 23-6 at home as head coach of the Tigers. I take the Tigers. Brian.
I'm going to take the Tigers as well. I think this will be a good opportunity for the Tigers to get back after that rough loss against Navy. Playing at 24.5, I definitely think they can cover this against a really bad Middle team.
Connor.
I have the Tigers as well.
All right.
So all we need is a Memphis pick.
That's right.
I know he knows the fight song. It's
Yeah,
not
he
a few
does.
bars. He knows it all the way through. Second and third stanza. Darian takes Middle Tennessee. So we're group lockless through 3 pick. 6:30 on ABC tomorrow night, the September Super Bowl of college football. The Georgia Bulldogs, 2.5-point favorite over Alabama at Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Bama leads all time 43-26-4. Kirby 0-1 in Tuscaloosa. That was in the COVID year. Nobody was there. Everybody's going to be there tomorrow night. Saturday night will be over. Tomorrow night will be over 100,000. Since 2008, Bama 15-1 in SEC openers. Georgia, the only team to finish in the AP final top 7 years in a row. These two resumes, these two rosters, these two with tradition, they have it all. Darian takes Bama. Connor.
I have Bama.
I have Bama winning 24-14, double digits for the Tide. We heard it to start the day on Fight Song Friday.
Right.
So, Bryant, you got the Fight Song handy. Group like Bama, right?
I am a man of morals, Brett. I'm a man of principles. There's only a few that I really live by, and we haven't actually
I don't have any,
been
but you're right.
able to use those this year. And it's always been, you never bet against Bama, you never bet against Georgia. Well, really what we meant was you never bet against Nick Saban until it can be proven otherwise. I've got to go with Georgie here, so I'm gonna take the dogs, and we'll see if old Uga can cover this spread.
And we'll see if the SEC goes through Georgia or not. Yeah. Darian's college football lock is Utah, minus 10.5 over Arizona. His shock, Illinois, a very popular one, plus the 17.5 at Happy Valley against the Nittany Lions against Penn State. Connor, your lock and shock.
My college football lock is Rutgers minus 1.5 versus Washington tonight. And my shock is BYU plus 3 at Baylor.
My college, good picks. Plus 3.5. We had a half point.
That's good
no
for
pushes.
You. You like that.
We never push. My college football lock is Kansas State laying the 4.5 over Oklahoma State. And my shock, I'm with you on BYU. And I thought when I picked BYU, this could be the week that we have the rare college football group lock on the shot picks. But Darian didn't take it. But I take BYU plus the 3.5 at Baylor. I think they win straight up 21-14. My Kansas State score was 24-13. I didn't give my Tiger score, 48-17 over Middle. Bryant, your college football lock and shot.
I feel like I say it every week, and I feel like people probably don't believe me. Connor and I don't even discuss these when we're doing them. Brett, you send them out, and I don't know what he picks. He doesn't know what I pick. My lock is going to be Rutgers tonight, minus 2.5 over Washington. Rutgers looked really good this year. Washington on the other side has really struggled.
Tough time scoring.
They sure have. And my shock, just like you, just like Connor, I'm going to take BYU plus the 3.5 over Baylor. BYU, they're coming off an off week last week, but they've looked really, really good to start the season. On the other side, Baylor lost a heartbreaker last week against Colorado, and still, I thought that they had issues. I think this physical BYU team, Brett, that we've talked about, I think they can get a win, so I'll take them plus the 3.5.
Very good picking there. Y'all are not twins, but you can communicate telepathically because there's a lot of the same DNA and thought process. So both of y'all have both the same lock and same shock. Will be
Do
real
I get
good.
the 2.5? Do I get the 2.5? I had 1.5.
Bryant gets the 1.5.
I'll take the 1.5 because I'd rather
both of y'all
have
get the 1.5.
Oh yeah,
we always go
yeah.
with the lesser when it a little bit of dispute like that because the lines get wonky as the week wears on. NFL on Sunday, noon on CBS. Our first game will be Green Bay minus 2.5 over Minnesota. They played forever. Green Bay leads 66-58. To 3, Aaron Jones returning to Lambeau. He's promising a Lambeau leap. Sam Darnold is 14 out of 19 with 6 scores, no turnovers in the red zone this year. 2 starts for Malik Willis, and he's looked like Steve McNair. Sorry for the Tennessee reference for Malik Willis and the Titans fans. 25 of 33, 324, no turnovers. Give me Minnesota to win the game straight up at Lambeau, 26-17. Darian takes the Vikings. Connor.
I have Minnesota.
Brian.
Wow, I'm going to take the Packers in this one. I like what Malik Willis has done, how they've kind of tailored that offense to him, and who knows, maybe Jordan Love, there's questions maybe he would play last week. I haven't seen an update yet on him, but certainly if he's able to go on Sunday, definitely like Green Bay's chances, so I'll take them minus the 2.5.
325 on CBS, Kansas City minus 7.5 at SoFi against the Chargers. All-time, the first time they ever met, it was Texans against the Chargers. The Chiefs lead all-time 69-58-1. They first met in 1960 as the Dallas Texans playing the L.A. Chargers. Starting quarterbacks Cotton Davidson against Jack Kemp. 5 straight for Kansas City over the Chargers. 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions for Patrick Mahomes. Jim Harbaugh, 2-5 all-time versus Andy Reid. Brian.
I'm going to take the Chargers here in this one, plus the 7.5. I think Kansas City probably wins this game, but I do think the Chargers can keep it close. We've seen Kansas City in some tight ones to start the season. They find ways to win, but last week we even saw it against Atlanta. I think Kansas City is definitely better than Atlanta, but that game came down to the wire. I think we probably see something similar this weekend against the Chargers. So I'll take the stab, and I'll take Chargers plus 7.5.
Darian takes the Chargers. I take the Chargers plus 7.5. I have the Chargers winning straight up 17-16. So it's up to you, Connor, for our first group lock of the week. You with us?
Well, I've been riding with the Chiefs all year.
Wow.
But this week I'm going with the Chargers.
Wow.
Oh,
How about that?
trickeration there from Connor. Good pick. Darian's one more. Sunday Night Football, 7:20 on NBC. Baltimore minus 2.5 over Buffalo. Baltimore leads all-time 6-5. First met in 1999. Doug Flutie, the quarterback for Buffalo, against Tony Banks for Baltimore. Big-time quarterback matchup this week, though. Derrick Henry, he scored at least 1 touchdown in each of his last 8 regular season games versus the AFC East. Josh Allen, 32-plus rushing yards in the Bills' last 8 Sunday games as underdogs. Buffalo trying to stay undefeated. Baltimore trying to get to 2-2. Give me the Ravens by 1, 28-27 over Buffalo. Darian takes Buffalo. Connor.
I have the Bills.
Bryant.
Yeah, I think it was Darian Monday when we were making our Monday Night Football picks when the Bills played the Jaguars, talked about how with the way Buffalo's been playing, you just bet on them every single time out as long as they're playing like this. So I didn't take his advice last week for Monday Night Football. I'll take his advice this week against Baltimore. I'll take Buffalo plus that 2.5. I think they can win the way Josh Allen has been playing, throwing it around, threw for 4 touchdowns last year. Everyone's talking about him as now the favorite for MVP. I think he continues to play like that, and they get a big-time win on Sunday Night Football.
Lock and shock time from the NFL. Darian takes the Raiders minus 1.5 over Cleveland, and he takes New Orleans plus the 1.5 over Atlanta. I'm directly opposed to him. I'm going to lay the 1.5 as my NFL lock and take Atlanta over New Orleans, with Atlanta winning 26-20, and I'm going to take Denver plus the 7.5 at the Jets, with Denver winning 17-16. Connor, your lock and shock.
My lock is Pittsburgh minus 1.5 at the Colts, and my shock is the Panthers plus 4.5 versus Cincinnati.
Okay.
2 in a row for the Panthers. Is that allowed?
How about that?
Brian,
Riding with the red rifle. Okay.
Lock and shock.
My lock is going to be the Texans minus 6.5 over the Jaguars. I think that's kind of where Connor's mind was, on just kind of fading Cincinnati right now, and I'm going to do the same with the Jaguars. Let's just fade the Jaguars. I'll take Houston by a touchdown, even though that's a lot of points in the NFL. My shock, I'm going to go with Tampa Bay plus 2.5 over the Eagles. I know the Eagles got the win last week against New Orleans. I'm still not sold on this Eagles team. Tampa Bay has looked good with Baker Mayfield at quarterback, so I'll take them plus the 2.5.
That's our picks. We'll do the 2 Monday Night Football games on Monday, and Connor will get yours and catch up with you. But so much fun, and thank you so much to First National Bank and Trust, a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas. They bring you our Friday football forecast every week, and we have a blast doing it. For real estate, commercial, ag, hunting, recreational, contact them at fnbt.com or call them at 901-498-5763. Offices in Collierville and on Ridge Lake Road. Stable, secure, solid, and consistent. That's been their hallmark through all these years.
Well, let's go ahead and get to our final break, and when we come back, we'll wrap up today's show. We'll wrap up this week with Crunch Time.
56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to real sports talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Guns, guns, and more guns. Over 700 firearms in stock. Home defense guns, old guns, new guns, used guns, big guns, little guns. Every gun you can think of, Classic Arms has them. All brands like Glock, Sig, Colt, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Browning, Beretta, Benelli, Remington, Winchester, and more. Guaranteed lowest prices in town. Only gun importer in the Mid-South. Free gun inspections and appraisals and free bore sighting for the upcoming deer season. Shop online at ClassicArmsOfMemphis.com or visit Classic Arms at 1740 Germantown Parkway behind Quirky's Barbecue in Cordova.
If you love sports and Mexican food, you can get the best of both at Los Cabos Mexican Bar and Grill on Summer near Graham. Watch all the big games on all the big TVs on all the walls at Los Cabos. And enjoy premium tequila shots anytime for just $5.50. Celebrate every day with lunch specials from 10 to 3 and happy hour from 3 to 8. Lunch is just $6.75 to $10.99 and margaritas start at $3.99. Experience real Mexican cuisine along with great sports at Los Cabos on Summer near Graham. Wash your house, wash your office building? Impossible! Not called Wilson's Pro Wash. Your house, fence, driveway, warehouse, store, hotel, even cars and trucks can all be squeaky clean and beautiful after pressure washing by Wilson's Pro Wash. Wilson's specializes in cleaning all hard surfaces, concrete, stone, brick, and mortar, even wood and vinyl siding. Then Wilson's can seal their surfaces so they stay looking brand new. Call Wilson's Pro Wash, 901-524-6799 or online at wilsonsprowash.com.
Looking for an engagement ring that will really knock her socks off? You need to be at Genesis Diamonds.
It's such a privilege at Genesis Diamonds for us to work with the world's finest designers, to be able to offer brands like Tacori and Veragio, and we're excited to be able to give you some great discount.
Genesis Vice President David Cooper, the craftsmanship, the detail, the quality, the individuality is darn better than anything else. Genesis has been selected as an exclusive provider for every top designer from ways to choose from. And if that's not enough, they can create something that's truly custom craft you really anything you can imagine. We have the capabilities to realize any dream you have. Things that other stores may call new, we've been doing for 5 years already. So don't settle for a mediocre style design. You deserve. I'm David Cooper. I'm excited to see you show. It's extended.
It's Western Trading Days at Sunrise Chevrolet Buick GMC in Collierville. Brand off MSRP on a new Lord 24 Chevy Silverado 1500 High Country 4x4. Or choose a new 24 Chevy Tahoe RST and get over $5,500 off MSRP. Sunrise Chevrolet Buick GMC in Collierville. We make it fun to buy a car. Together, let's drive.
Price does not include licensing costs, registration fees, taxes, and dealer doc fee of $7.99, which are to be paid by the consumer. Silverado RZ $313,277, MSRP $79,565, dealer discount $67.50, customer cash $32.50, Tahoe RR $145,292, MSRP $80,930, dealer discount $56.65, expires 9/30/24.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings and Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings and Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every dollar you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings and Grill.
Sportstime on Sports 56 and 95 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover. Once
This is pretty cool, and we're just getting started, so.
spanning the globe.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
Well, Brett, what I learned today, and you can look out the window and see it, Hurricane Helene came through earlier today, last night, and earlier today. Now it's making its way up to us, and it looks like college football could be impacted by it over the weekend. We already have one game that has been canceled. Liberty and Appalachian State has been canceled. We'll see if there are more. I know a lot of these teams trying to get the games in. I've even read that some teams, I know Colorado arrived early to Orlando earlier this week. I think they got there Wednesday so that they didn't have any travel concerns with all of this hurricane going through. Definitely good for them. But
great preparation.
We'll see what it looks like. I know like Florida, they've got an off week this week, so they don't really have to worry about it. I know the hurricane did do some damage to Florida. I saw some pictures of some split trees and a bunch of different things. So it's probably good that they're not playing. Miami didn't really get hit by it, and so they're playing tonight against Virginia Tech. But we'll definitely have to keep an eye on if this weather that has began as a hurricane now just turning into rain, if that affects college football over the weekend.
Brian, that's just a great take because all over, I know the SEC starting yesterday, we're alerting people, find you some buses.
Yeah.
You have to get there, and here's the rub. It's nobody's. It's no blame. It's horrible, historic bad weather. There's a lot worse things it's done and impacting than football and sports. But so many of the charter services for this part of the world originate out of Atlanta.
Yeah.
Well, they can't get out of that.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's been something. But I know the SEC has told people find some buses.
Wow.
You have to get there. What I learned, Bama and Georgia comes down to quarterback play. Doesn't it always?
Mm-hmm.
I give a slight edge to Jalen Milroe, mostly at home, the comfortability, all that good stuff. He was at home last year in September in the big game against Texas, though. But Milroe can and must do more. Carson Beck doesn't have the weaponry right now at Georgia that he had last year. He may by the end of the year. He's been rather average. Milroe has had a better year so far. I picked Bama 24-14. I'm staying with it. Massive game. That playoff expansion has not devalued.
That's right.
Everybody's excited about this one, just like we would be if we were the old UPI AP picking.
No, you're absolutely right, and that's what people were worried about is these regular season games, will they lose value? But no, certainly not this one. This one feels as big as ever. What I could have done without today, earlier this morning, the Grizzlies put out a statement announcing that Vince Williams Jr., one of the guys that had a really good season last year, one of the guys that was able to remain healthy most of the season and really played big-time minutes and ended up getting off of that two-way, getting a standard contract because of how well he was playing. Vince Williams Jr. has suffered an upper tibia fracture, and the Grizzlies announced this morning that the guard is expected to be reevaluated in 4 weeks and could miss the start of the regular season. This comes only a couple of weeks after it was announced Gigi Jackson will miss the start of the regular season with an injury. So now, while these aren't, at least is what they're reporting, because, Brett, we kind of got into that issue last year where these statements came out from the Grizzlies of we'll reevaluate them in 4 weeks, and that 4 weeks turned into we'll see what's going on in a month, and now you're out for the season. Hopefully we're not talking about that for this. So hopefully if these are minor, only a couple of weeks, maybe you miss a month, maybe a couple games to start the regular season, that's okay. But I know every time for Grizzlies fans, every time you see that statement come out and says somebody else is injured, you get those bad flashbacks from last year when we know what happened. The season turned into a disaster because and only because of all of the injuries. And now
it is it's quite strange how the two guys that were the most vital pieces to last year's team with all of the injuries are now the two players that have the injuries to start the season. So you hate to see it for the Grizzlies, but hopefully these are not severe injuries. They don't look like, or at least being reported that they are, and both these guys only miss a few games, a little bit of time to start the regular season.
I could have done without yesterday at the President's Cup with the international team. I love Tom Kim. He's among one of the nicest young people ever, popular on the tour, and he was exuberant yesterday, maybe overly so, but bring the passion.
Absolutely.
We like it when we have a Captain America.
That's right.
But we don't like it so much when the other guy's doing it. It's getting too tedious for me at the Ryder Cup and the President's Cup on how do you give punch? Do you act excited? Do you not act excited? And let's not make Tom Kim the bad guy at golf, because there's a lot worse people in sports than Tom Kim.
For sure. And, Brett, as they say, Captain International just doesn't have that that ring to Captain America. It's just a little different. But
where's he based?
Exactly.
Oslo?
Who knows? I guess everywhere internationally. Yeah. But that was an interesting, thing to watch yesterday and keep an eye on, because it was Scotty Scheffler versus Tom Kim, and both of them had moments where, they got really fired up and really emotional.
And they're friends.
Exactly. We know they are like best friends on the tours. Their families are very close. And
let's don't do this to each other.
I think I remember Scotty Scheffler's wife calling him Uncle Tom after they had their baby. So definitely.
They love him.
Yeah, they love him. So I like kind of seeing that back and forth between them. I don't think it's anything too big. Where are you beaming tonight?
The Grove tomorrow for Ole Miss, bright and early in the morning, 9 o'clock we come on the air. I'll be alongside Gary Darby. And finally, a good opponent in Oxford, 11 o'clock kick. Come by and see me from the best campus in America, bright and early in the morning.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one. You mentioned it, an early game for Ole Miss tomorrow against Kentucky. Beam me tomorrow to the big game. We've talked about it all afternoon. Alabama and Georgia. It's the big one. That line is starting to move just a little bit.
You may need the beam machine to get past all the traffic to get to your seat.
Start right now and beam me there so I don't have to get with all of that traffic. But it should be a really good weekend. A quick reminder, you mentioned that Ole Miss game. We'll have complete coverage of that tomorrow morning starting at 9 a.m. with pre and post, and we'll have a triple header of NFL on Sunday.
It should be fun to keep eye on the Kentucky defense. It looks great to me in the games I've watched against that explosive Ole Miss offense. Auburn and Oklahoma, fork in the road game. They've met twice in bowl games, first regular season meeting. Memphis Tigers got to improve after last week and get well over middle. Arkansas and A&M, Arch Manning's first SEC start. Bama and Georgia, NFL, President's Cup, into baseball. A lot going on.
A lot going on. It's a really good weekend of sports, but that's all the time we have. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you again Monday afternoon.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my